A male voice rang out, cutting through the atmosphere of the party. Wait. I want to call off the engagement. It turned out that voice was Payne, the crown prince of the Charlemagne Empire. The nobles around whispered, is His Highness the Crown Prince crazy to call off an engagement at the engagement party? This will embarrass the Brown family. His Majesty the King originally wanted to strengthen the ties with the royalist faction through this marriage. Now it's all over. It said this is related to the woman the Crown Prince brought back from outside the palace. Victor Olsen, the king of the Charlemagne Empire, hearing his son's foolish words and the whispers of the nobles, couldn't help but feel angry. He frowned and shouted loudly. Payne, what nonsense are you talking about? Payne was anxious. He clenched his fists and stepped forward to report, Father, I will not marry the daughter of Duke Brown, no matter the consequences, I will bear them myself. The king looked visibly displeased. He frowned and said to Princess Helena standing behind him, Helena, quickly stop your brother. Do you want him to disgrace our royal family? Contrary to his anxious attitude, she maintained her composure. She held a fan to cover most of her face, revealing only her fiery red eyes. She spoke, Father, don't rush. She recalled the humiliating scene of being burned alive. In her previous life, that sea of fire not only did not take her life, but also caused her to be reborn and return to the day when Payne publicly cancelled the engagement because of a transmigrated girl. She folded her fan and casually replied, Perhaps His Highness the Crown Prince has a hidden difficulty, or should we listen to his reasons? Unsurprisingly, Helena appeared magnificent with a beautiful face. Her wine-red pupils combined with her purple hair further enhanced her mysteriousness. She remembered further that to fulfill her younger brother and the girl he loved, she offended nobles inside and outside the court, and ultimately fell into a tragic death. Living again, this princess will no longer raise these ungrateful people. She smiled coldly and determined in her heart, I will take back all the rights and pride that originally belonged to me. Hearing her say that, Prince Payne could only stammer in response, Sorry sister, I can't say the reason. He thought to himself, right now only I am single-mindedly in love with Finey, I can't drag her into this mess. Looking at her flustered younger brother in front of her, she smiled inwardly, If you don't say it, your sister knows, it's all because of that transmigrated vixen. You're bewitched by her, disregarding the interests of the royal family, neglecting your responsibilities as crown prince. She thought back to her previous life and couldn't help but darken her face uncomfortably. In her previous life, if she hadn't stubbornly sheltered you, and shouldered all the responsibilities herself, you would have long become the target of public criticism and would never have become king. Today, I want to see with my own eyes how you seek death. Walking towards him, Helena lowered her voice and said, Payne, when you got engaged, you agreed with your own mouth. Now you're calling off the engagement in front of everyone like this. What are you going to do with Duke Brown's daughter? Who will she marry in the future? Nalita Brown, the daughter of the Duke and also the Crown Prince's fiancé, was unwilling to be humiliated by having her engagement cancelled in front of everyone. She questioned, Your Highness the Crown Prince, please give me a reason, otherwise our Brown family will not let this go easily. Seeing that he didn't answer, she became even more angry and shouted loudly, Speak up. No matter how angry Nalita got, he maintained his indifferent attitude and didn't care. He thought, she's so annoying. Helena spoke up, cutting through the atmosphere at that moment, Payne, from a young age, I've always stood on your side, tell me honestly, do you have someone you like? I want to know what you're thinking, so I can help you. She calculated, quickly say that transmigrated vixen's name. In her previous life, she mingled in the crowd to watch this farce. She wreaked havoc on the royal family and then safely retreated. In this life, I won't let her go. Payne stammered in response. The nobles around continued to whisper, it must be the girl the crown prince brought back to the palace. It said she was bought from a slave auction. What identity does she have to dare steal the man of Duke Brown's daughter? The transmigrated girl that Helena mentioned turned out to be Finey. At this time she was standing on the side observing. She cursed inwardly, are these people sick in the head? She thought, not long ago, when she was filming a movie, she transmigrated into an adaptation of a Western romance comic. She became the female lead Finey, the female lead of that comic, a female slave who relied on her intelligence to create a mythical empire, but all of that was only what Finey knew before she transmigrated into this world. The male supporting character Payne saved her at the slave auction and fell in love with her at first sight. He is a typical gentleman, very gentle and caring towards her, but she won't like him, because the male lead of this comic is not him. While thinking, she calculated. Everyone whispered again, His Holiness the Pope has arrived. His Holiness the Pope is a respectful title for the leading clergyman in fictional literature, they continued. Whether this engagement will be carried out or not depends on the temple. There's a good show to watch this time. Continuing with Finey's train of thought, a figure was slowly entering the main hall, none other than the Pope Randall, the male lead of the novel that Finey had read before transmigrating. Randall spoke, Your Highness the Crown Prince, your engagement with the daughter of Duke Brown has been witnessed by the God of Light, you cannot call off the engagement. Finey's fanciful thoughts grew even larger when she focused on the male lead Randall. Today she sneaked into Payne Olsen's engagement ceremony to meet her true love. Randall, she couldn't help but admire the heavenly beauty of the novel's male lead, so handsome, even more handsome than the male celebrity she met when filming. Contrary to Finey's rosy thoughts, Helena only saw Randall as a nuisance and he had arrived. She recalled, in her previous life, the Empire was in great chaos because of this transmigrated girl's obstruction, not to mention the Pope Randall, who added fuel to the fire. Siding with the enemy, the war between theocracy and royal power was endless. She stepped forward, walking and asking, Your Holiness the Pope, as far as I know, His Highness the Crown Prince and the daughter of Duke Brown have not yet completed the final ceremony of the engagement. So it doesn't count as breaking the engagement, right? She thought, the Brown family is the leader of the royalist faction. In her previous life, the Duke led the nobility to fiercely oppose her becoming queen, for fear that she would steal Payne's position. Recalling the events of her previous life, she gritted her teeth and calculated, in this life, she can't let Payne get the support of the Brown family anymore. This engagement must be cancelled, so she can take advantage of it. Randall spoke softly, Princess Helena, engagement is sacred, toying with the gods will bring a curse and bring misfortune to His Highness the Crown Prince, as far as I know. You dote on His Highness the Crown Prince the most, surely you can't bear to see that scene, right? The eyes of the two of them seemed to emit sparks. Payne lightly tugged at Helena's sleeve, he stammered, Sister, how about? She continued, Don't worry, I'll always support you, saying that but in her heart she was thinking the opposite, since I've been reborn, Payne is destined to be unhappy. I will make sure he never has peace, but for now, I just want to become a queen pawn. Helena raised her hand and stroked her chin, she pondered and asked, Your Holiness the Pope, now that I think about it, on my 3rd birthday, I also proposed to you in front of the temple. And you agreed to wait until I grew up to marry me, shouldn't you fulfill your promise? Hearing Helena's question, he stood in silence, recalling the moment when he was 7 years old and Helena was 3 years old, he put a wreath he made himself on her head. While putting it on he said, Happy birthday princess, what wish can I help you fulfill? Hearing that, she happily, with a blushing face, casually replied, I want to marry His Holiness the Pope, is that okay? She was only 3 years old, but her beauty at this time was extraordinary. Hearing her innocent answer, he couldn't help but unconsciously blush shyly. Randall gently rubbed her head and replied, Okay, wait until you grow up. Ending the memory at this time Helena's eyes became sharp, she continued, That year you agreed to my proposal under the witness of the gods, you won't go back on your word, right? Seeing that, Payne couldn't help but be stunned and loudly said, Sister, you don't need to go to this extent for me, he thought, she wants to sacrifice a lifetime of happiness to fulfill me. Indeed she is the person who treats me the best in the world. Seeing that the story was going in the wrong direction from what she had planned, Finey gritted her teeth angrily, how dare that woman? The nobles around started whispering again, Oh my God, what a surprise, Her Highness the Princess proposed in front of everyone, will she be rejected, how can a joke from when she was little be taken seriously? Seeing Randall standing there with a dark face, she secretly rejoiced, that's right, as long as Randall doesn't agree to her proposal. She can counterattack, cancel the marriage between Payne and the Brown family. Helena calculated with an evil expression, everything is within her control. But contrary to her expectations, Randall agreed in a very calm manner, okay then. I agree to your proposal, Your Highness the Princess. Around him flowers seemed to bloom after that sentence and gentle smile. She was stunned, what, this is not what she wanted, to destroy the royal power, Randall is really desperate. There was also another person surprised by Randall's answer, Finey was full of doubts in her heart, she wondered, why did the male lead agree to her proposal? She is the female lead of this world. Unable to wait any longer, she suddenly spoke up, Wait, I have something to say. The nobles whispered again at the impolite action of that young lady, who is that, daring to interrupt Her Highness the Princess and His Holiness the Pope, judging by the way she's dressed. She doesn't look like a noble lady. Another lady spoke with a scornful tone, What hole did this rude girl crawl out of, who wants to hear what she has to say? Seeing the shining light in his heart, Payne couldn't help but rejoice. His attitude was completely different from before. He gently called her name, Finey. In his heart he whispered, she came here to face all this with him, she accepts him, as if knowing what he was thinking in his heart. Helena glanced at him with an evaluating look. She smiled coldly. She thought to herself, it seems she doesn't need to take action, someone is already restless. Even though she knew who she was, she maintained her polite attitude, and spoke up asking, who is this young lady? Finey did not show any restraint. She confidently approached Helena and introduced herself. My name is Finey, I'm a friend of His Highness the Crown Prince. Deliberately casting a glance towards Payne. How come I didn't know you had this friend, Payne? At this time, his face was flushed red like a tomato, receiving her unexpected question. He stammered, sister, she is. She continued, is she the girl you like, right? Finey shook her head repeatedly to deny. No, she thought, she can't let Randall misunderstand that she and Payne have a relationship. She must explain clearly and prevent the marriage between him and this shameless princess. With her green tea face, she pretended to be innocent, looking up with pleading eyes and saying, Finey is very grateful for the Crown Prince's life-saving grace. This time I appeared, I wanted to wish His Highness the Crown Prince and the daughter of Duke Brown happiness as a friend. I hope the Crown Prince can prioritize the big picture. Hearing her words, he sadly called her name, Finey, he thought, so she wants to remind him of the importance of this marriage. Initially, the Charlemagne Empire was established with the help of the clergy. The law stipulates that the temple supervises the country. If the royal family declines, the Pope has the right to inherit the throne. Over the years, the temple has been eyeing the royal power. He continued thinking, he can't let the ruling power of the empire fall into the hands of the clergy. Thinking that, he did not hesitate to speak up and say, sorry daughter of Duke Brown, please forgive my offense just now, continue the ceremony with me to complete the engagement. Is that okay? In his heart he still couldn't let go of Finey's image. He thought, as long as he keeps Finey by his side, sooner or later he can make her accept his feelings. Payne's eyes became sad. As for the daughter of Duke Brown, when he ascends the throne, he will divorce her. But a voice interrupted his train of thought. No way, Nalita shouted loudly. Nalita pointed directly at Finey, angrily questioning, the person you want to marry is her, right? If that's the case, you two go get married. Saying that, she reached out and tore off the veil on her head. Nalita rushed towards Finey. She warned in a grating voice, what are you? You're worthy to be my substitute. Seeing the spear pointed directly at her, she could only stammer, waving her hands to deny, it's not like that, please listen to me explain. Finey was confused. She thought, why did it become like this? Clearly she is the female lead surrounded by everyone. The daughter of Duke Brown is just one of her pawns later. Helena called out, Miss, don't go, she's just a female slave that Payne brought back so she doesn't understand court etiquette. Hearing Helena's stabbing words, Finey became even more angry. She clenched her fists and suppressed her emotions, secretly angry in her heart. This woman. The nobles were still whispering, witnessing a royal drama right in front of their eyes. They looked at Finey with contempt, a lowly female slave. No wonder she smelled of lowliness all over her body, so she's a humble commoner. Hearing those unpleasant whispers, she angrily questioned, so what if I'm a slave? There's no distinction between high and low at birth, everyone is equal. You are the ones who seize resources, exploit others inhumanely, and still shamelessly divide into 3, 6, 9 classes. You are the most hateful ones. Seeing that, Payne couldn't help but be surprised by her unusual attitude. The leader of the royalist faction and also Duke Brown couldn't bear this insult. He was angry, blaming everything on Finey, that lowly slave, daring to speak recklessly, saying everyone is equal. Helena watched the drama from the side, secretly admiring. This transmigrated vixen is still as reckless as she was in her previous life. Too bad in this life there will be no one to protect her anymore. Duke Brown pointed at Finey, speaking to the king to punish her. Your Majesty, this female slave has repeatedly disrupted the royal marriage, doesn't know etiquette. I hope the king will execute her. Payne couldn't stand still seeing Duke Brown wanting to punish Finey, stepping forward to stop him. No way, father, please spare Finey's life. Seeing Prince Payne not standing on the side of the Brown family but instead protecting the girl who disrupted his daughter's marriage, he was shocked. His Highness the Crown Prince, the Brown family has protected the royal family for generations. Today they are humiliated by a lowly female slave. If you don't handle this properly, our Brown family will never be loyal to someone like you. The king at this time also couldn't restrain his anger. He ordered, Payne Olsen, look at the stupid thing you've done, quickly apologize to Duke Brown. Payne still refused to apologize. He defended, no, it's not that I'm condoning her, I just don't want to see blood on the day of the engagement. Helena approached Payne and asked, but Payne, Duke Brown's daughter has cancelled the engagement with you, who else wants to get engaged to you? Although her words showed that she was always on her younger brother sighed. In her heart at this time she was cursing nonstop, you fool, your sister won't let you find an excuse to protect her. Hearing her sister's question, Payne didn't know how to answer, he stammered unable to speak. He turned to Pope Randall and casually gave his opinion, Your Holiness the Pope, since you have agreed to my sister's proposal, then choosing a day is not as good as meeting the day. How about directly getting engaged today? Not anticipating this would happen, she screamed in horror in her heart, what? Then both Helena and Finey shouted in unison, no way. She gritted her teeth uncomfortably in her heart and cursed her unconscionable younger brother nonstop, you unconscionable white-eyed wolf, you're pulling me out to take the blame so quickly. Still with an innocent look, she approached Randall and spoke up, Your Holiness the Pope, the person you like isn't the princess, right? In that case, we can't get engaged. She thought, he likes me, according to the original story, he will be attracted to my view of social classes and love me at first sight. But contrary to her thinking that Randall would love her from the first moment like in the original story, he replied with judgmental eyes and a cold attitude. It was like a bucket of cold water poured on her head, who said I don't like Her Highness the Princess. She was stunned, not believing the truth happening right in front of her. What? Regardless of Finey's attitude, Randall still stepped forward. He raised his hand to his chest and respectfully reported, Your Majesty the King, I think the Crown Prince is right. If you don't have any other opinions, then the main character today will change to me and Princess Helena. Hearing Randall's suggestion, he frowned and asked, You really want to marry Helena? He replied calmly, Yes, I have never gone back on my word. She was shocked and couldn't believe what she had just heard. She uncontrollably fell backwards. Payne standing nearby quickly ran over to support Helena. He was panicked and worried. Sister, what's wrong? After regaining her composure, she softly suggested, Your Holiness the Pope, how about you reconsider? Getting engaged today is a bit too fast, right? In her heart she whispered, it's true that she planned to disrupt Payne's engagement and get revenge on Finey, but she didn't plan to drag herself into this. Haven't Randall and the royal family been like fire and water? Why did he agree to marry her? Finey still hadn't given up on her intentions. She anxiously stopped him. Randall, she isn't your destiny, she thought. If you marry her, what about me? Randall threw her a cold look. He warned, presumptuous, daring to call the Pope by his name. Whether she is destiny or not is for me to decide. It's not up to a slave like you to interfere. Seeing his cold attitude, she was stunned. So even you? He turned to Duke Brown and made his suggestion. If Duke Brown insists on justice, then give this female slave to the Duke to be a servant. He continued, she doesn't know etiquette, it's good to give her to the Duke's daughter to correct her. Nalita, hearing this reasonable suggestion, quickly agreed, everything will be arranged by His Holiness the Pope. She ran quickly towards Payne, opening her mouth to beg, Payne, I won't be a servant, you agreed not to let anyone trample on me so I followed you back to the palace. Supporting her, he comforted, sorry, Finey, I will definitely find a way to save you. Seeing the touching scene before her, Helena secretly gloated, great, in her previous life, she was always arrogant and proud of her uniqueness, in the future I will break her arrogance bit by bit. She will know who is the real main character of this world. Randall had stepped in front of her at some point. He spoke up, then. From now on, I am your fiancé, Princess Helena. While saying that, he took her small hand and placed a kiss on it. Please guide me more. That action made Helena's heart blossom. She was shy and her cheeks were flushed red. Getting engaged to a political enemy, what to do? Randall walked out of the banquet hall. The soldiers guarding the gate greeted, have a safe trip. Randall was escorted onto the carriage by the servants beside him. Suddenly a voice rang out, Your Holiness the Pope, please wait a moment. Hearing someone call him, he quickly turned around to look. Helena quickly approached Randall, finally catching up. Seeing her running after him so anxiously, he spoke up wondering, Your Highness the Princess. You came to see me off. She gasped and said, Your Holiness the Pope, I came to ask you to dissolve the engagement. She thought, she can't let the political enemy have a chance to climb up just to defeat Payne. The temple has always been eyeing the royal power. If the marriage is successful, wouldn't it become Randall's stepping stone? She thought of the scene of Randall sitting on the throne, surrounded by red roses stained with blood. She shuddered in fear. No way, the throne must be hers. He spoke up in response. If I remember correctly, it was the princess who took the initiative to propose. Could it be that canceling engagements is the custom of the Olsen royal family? She shyly denied. No, Your Holiness the Pope, I apologize to you for my rash behavior today. I completely ignored your feelings. She thought, haha, not funny at all. If she doesn't handle this properly, the entire Olsen royal family will be responsible for her. She put on an adorable look and begged, a kind person like you wouldn't bear to see me embarrassed in front of everyone, so you agreed to cooperate and act with me. Right, she thought. According to her experience, people with high positions like to be flattered the most. Randall is no exception. He darkened his face and asked, you feel I'm acting? She replied, could it be that it's not? Don't you think love and marriage are sacred? Randall continued, of course, but what does this have to do with acting? She happily clapped her hand on his shoulder repeatedly. Then that's right, Your Holiness the Pope has no feelings for me. If we force ourselves to be together, wouldn't that tarnish the sacredness? Moreover, can you accept doing things that can only be done between lovers with someone you don't love? He asked. I hope Your Highness the Princess can enlighten me. What are the things that can only be done between lovers? The question seemed simple, but with his expression, it seemed that he had other thoughts and intentions. But Helena naively believed that his question was because he really didn't know. She draped her arm over his shoulder like a friend and thought, as expected of someone enlightened by the clergy from a young age, he doesn't even know what things lovers have to do together. Let me enlighten him. She replied, there are many things lovers can do together, for example, dating together, while saying that she thought of the scene of her and Randall strolling in the park, holding hands while walking, kissing under the moonlight. And also an important thing, which is to give birth to descendants. She smiled brightly and replied. She raised 3 fingers, pointing at them as she spoke. Those are the things. Seeing her adorable appearance, he happily replied, so that's it. Randall tightly grasped her small hand. He pulled Helena closer to him and spoke up, it's still early, we can start with holding hands and walking, then we can sit in my carriage and go on a date in the city. Seeing his actions, she couldn't help but be surprised. What? Regardless of her embarrassment, he continued calmly, as for kissing under the moonlight, we still have to see if there's a moon tonight. Regarding giving birth to descendants, before she could finish the third point, she was shy, embarrassed, and blushing, pulling her hand back and shouting loudly, don't say any more. She thought, as expected of the person who rules the clergy, he works so efficiently, it takes people half a lifetime to be able to do all those things, but he plans to finish them in one day. He reached out and stroked a strand of her hair. Is Her Highness the Princess not satisfied with my arrangements? We can also give birth to descendants first. His actions along with his suggestive words made Helena blush even more. She angrily shouted, no rush, let's take it slow, don't talk anymore. In her heart she whispered, that's not right, why am I being led by the nose by him? Finey, hiding on the side, heard everything and trembled with anger. Damn it, Randall was still happily teasing Helena. He laughed gleefully at seeing her angry but adorable look. Finey gritted her teeth. She thought, the plot has collapsed, the male lead is flirting with the cannon fodder female supporting character. Is this still the book she read? No way, she definitely has to get the plot back on its original track, that way she will be the female lead of this world. She definitely has to think of a way to get back to the male lead. Reclaim everything that belongs to her. Suddenly a loud voice rang out from behind, lowly female slave, what are you doing here? It turned out that was Nalita's voice. At this time she had changed out of the white dress for the engagement ceremony. She approached Finey and questioned. Didn't I tell you to help me onto the carriage? What are you doing here sneaking around? Finey still refused to accept the truth. She shouted loudly, I'm not a female slave, much less your servant. Don't think that if I fall into your hands you can order me around. As soon as she finished speaking, she immediately received a painful slap. Finey was stunned, trembling, and questioning, you hit me. She thought to herself, I'm so big and my parents have never hit me. Nalita frowned and warned, you think you can rely on His Highness the Crown Prince, so I don't dare do anything to you. His Holiness the Pope and His Majesty the King have handed you over to me. Even if I kill you now, no one would dare speak up. She still refused to yield. She resentfully covered her face and angrily thought, she can't anger her. In this world of class discrimination there is no law and human rights. The scene changed to a dungeon under a dark basement. Helena was chained up with iron chains tying her hands. She sat on the ground pitifully. Helena spoke up, why are you treating me like this? She frowned angrily and questioned, "From beginning to end I have always supported you and Payne, why are you repaying kindness with enmity?" Finey was standing with her arms crossed looking down at her with contempt. She replied, "If you want to blame, you can only blame your fate is not good, you are just an unimportant cannon fodder. In the script, Payne owes me a life-saving grace, only when you die will you not threaten his position." Helena shouted, "The script again, what exactly is the script she's talking about?" Finey covered her mouth and laughed mockingly, "Since you're about to die anyway, it's okay to tell you this secret. In fact, the world you're living in is just the fictional content of a novel." She raised her chin and continued, "Not just you, but Payne too." The images of Helena and Payne appeared blurred. She didn't expect the world she was reborn into to be the world in a book where the ending of each character was predetermined. "And all of you nobles are just supporting characters in the story." She smiled evilly, "Only me. I'm the one with flesh and blood who transmigrated into this novel. I am the female lead of this world. All of you must revolve around me, understand?" How pathetic. Hearing this unbelievable truth, Helena couldn't help but be stunned, her pupils contracted. She once again dreamed that realistic dream, she thought to herself, "It's that dream again. That transmigrated woman claims to be the female lead of this world, so who is the male lead?" She gritted her teeth and determined that she couldn't let things happen like in the dream, no matter what. She would let her know who the pathetic one is here. She will let her experience the pain she caused me. Suddenly there was a voice from outside the door, "Your Highness Honest, the princess is sleeping, you can't come in." He pushed the maid aside, anxiously stepped into her room and called out loudly, "Helene." He spoke up, "Aren't you sleeping yet?" The maid quickly defended, "Your Highness the princess." We stopped him but, before the maid could finish speaking, Helena ordered, "Everyone get out." She held her forehead and thought to herself, another troublesome person. It turned out that the person who broke into her room was Prince Caponis of the Kingdom of Lorraine. He said, "Helene, you can't marry the Pope." She casually replied, "This is my personal matter, it has nothing to do with your Highness Honest, right?" Not satisfied with her answer, he pressed, "You have a hidden difficulty, right? I don't believe you would easily give up the feelings between us like that." She looked uncomfortably at the ridiculous words of the prince in front of her. She thought, the feelings between us, this guy isn't reborn, is he? She suddenly remembered that 15 years ago, a conflict broke out between the Empire and the Kingdom of Lorraine that depended on it. To cease the war, the King of Lorraine sent his only prince to the Empire to study. The images rewinded to the time when the two were young. Honest was 1 year younger than Helena, timid and shy. She treated him like her younger brother Payne and loved him. In her previous life, after Payne ascended the throne to resolve the grudges between the Empire and the Kingdom of Lorraine. Under the urging of that transmigrated woman, Helena married Honest to form a marriage alliance between the two countries. The image of the two holding hands, walking side by side in parties was still deeply imprinted in her mind. Helena and Honest went to the Kingdom of Lorraine and she gradually helped him stabilize his position. Honest gave her the position of queen, and a most grand wedding but immediately after that, that transmigrated woman spread false news that Payne was seriously ill. The two of them planned to take her hostage, to force Honest to be loyal to Payne. Helena was hung on the cross, surrounded by a sea of fire. But then Honest didn't appear. She had placed her trust in the wrong place twice. Tears streamed down her face. Watching the fire spread, burning her skin, dissolving her blood and flesh, she screamed miserably, and finally was burned to ashes by the great fire. Returning to the present, she thought to herself, vows of love can't overcome practical interests. She can understand why Honest didn't hand over royal power for her. But that doesn't mean she can forgive him for not saving her when she was dying. She crossed her arms and stood in front of him. She said coldly, "Your Highness Honest, if there's nothing else, please leave." She told herself, she will never make the same mistake again. Honest's hand tightly grabbed her hand and pulled her back. He choked up with tearful eyes as if he could cry immediately. "Are you angry? When you were young, every time you were angry you would chase me away like this. But I know, you're waiting for me to apologize. Yesterday, I should have appeared and helped you out, so you wouldn't need to sacrifice your lifelong happiness." She coldly denied, "There's no such thing as sacrifice here. I'm very satisfied with the marriage between me and the Pope." He angrily refused to accept the truth. He frowned and asked her uncomfortably, "What's so good about a blockhead like the Pope? What points do I lose to him?" She indifferently replied, "Are you comparing yourself to His Holiness the Pope? You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Do you want to compare status or rights?" Honest still wouldn't let go of her hand as if wanting to hold on to the last bit of hope. He continued, "You've never cared about these things before. Ignoring his attitude, she shook her hand off, and replied uncomfortably, okay, I care about looks, His Holiness the Pope is more handsome than you, is that okay? Hearing her answer and harsh words, he froze for 5 seconds. He was saddened by her answer just now. She actually thinks I'm ugly. She coldly turned and left the room. You're not leaving, then I'll leave. In short, I won't marry anyone but the Pope. Our marriage has been blessed by everyone. I hope you can also bless us. He looked regretfully at her leaving back. She thought, needless to say, Randall is a pretty useful humanoid tool, at least until she becomes queen. No one will dare to covet the idea of marriage with her again. She quickly left, ignoring Anis, who was still trying to pull her back. Randall outside the door had heard the conversation just now from who knows when. He spoke up, so Your Highness the Princess likes my face. She was startled and realized that the voice just now was Randall's. She didn't pay attention. Just as she stepped out of the door, she bumped into Randall. He stroked Helena's hair and said gently, I'm very honored. Seeing Randall in front of her, she couldn't help but shyly blush. She gently pushed away from his arms, and softly asked, Your Holiness the Pope, why are you here? But in her heart she had a completely different thought. Damn it, when did he arrive? Why didn't the servants inform me? That's right, Randall has eyes and ears everywhere. In her previous life he planted a lot of spies in the palace. Surely her palace is also within his surveillance. Thinking of the images of the maids in her palace being Randall's eyes and ears, she couldn't help but be angry. She told herself, one day, she must uproot all the hidden sleepers in here. Anis hurried after her. He grabbed her hand and asked, Helene, are you okay? She replied, I'm fine. But in her mind at this time she thought of the image of Randall revealing his 8-pack abs. She blushed when she remembered the hug just now. Randall's hug was quite soft. Anis angrily questioned Randall, Your Holiness the Pope, this is the princess's palace. You barged in without permission, and almost injured her. How rude. Ignoring his question, Randall stood calmly and looked at Anis contemptuously with his arms crossed. Helena looked down and saw that Randall hadn't really entered her room. He was still a distance away from the door. Randall didn't care much. He spoke up questioning Anis, I'll return this question to you. I heard that His Excellency Anis entered the princess's bedroom early in the morning despite the servants' obstruction. This isn't an action that a gentleman should do. As if realizing that he was the impolite one here, Anis was startled. While speaking, Randall approached, holding Helena's hand intimately. Also, Helene is my fiancée. I hope His Excellency Anis will respect himself. This sudden action made her shy and blush. Seeing that Anis also stepped forward, grabbing Helena's other hand, Randall looked at him with disgusted eyes. Let go. Anis, although weak, still wouldn't give up. Not letting go. Seeing the childish actions of the two, Helena standing in the middle couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. Anis made a challenge. What can you do to me? He thought to himself, the person Helene likes is me. No one can steal her from me. Helena looked uncomfortable. Will these two ever stop? She shook her hand away, and said loudly, You two let me go. She held her forehead angrily. I am not the property of anyone, nor am I a toy to be fought over. The fire of anger in her body flared up. Please leave before you do something that makes me even more annoyed. Anis hurriedly apologized. Helene, don't be angry. I'll come visit you another day. She looked disgusted when she saw Anis still wanting to come to her palace another day. Anis had left, but Randall was still standing there. She turned her head back to ask him confusedly, Why aren't you leaving? She thought to herself, he came early in the morning. Didn't he understand that marriage with her was a mistake, so he came here to cancel the engagement, just as she was about to treat him as a tool? He was about to run away. He answered her question. Didn't the princess say yesterday that she wanted to cultivate feelings with me? So this morning I came to prove my heart to Your Highness the Princess. She widened her eyes and remembered, yesterday in a moment of panic and confusion she had accidentally agreed to some unreasonable things. But, today I'm ordered by my father to take Payne to Duke Brown's mansion to pay a visit. I'm afraid I don't have time. Seeing his sincere expression, she secretly asked herself, is he sincere with me? But she immediately rejected that thought. He's only sincere with the royal power behind me. She cast a cold glance at him. In short, she wouldn't be deceived by the lies of a tool. He put his hand on his chin and continued, Is that so? With the stance of the royalist faction, they probably won't welcome me. She happily thought to herself, that's good too, she can reasonably push this guy aside. Anyway, there's a good show today. Helena remembered that in her previous life Finey had said that she had the halo of the female lead protecting her. All efforts to harm her would ultimately fail. No matter how difficult it was, it couldn't stop her from stepping to the top step by step. But yesterday she was able to change some of the things that happened in her previous life. Helena was forced to leave the royal palace, unable to hold back the curiosity in her heart. She wanted to see how she would return to the palace and play tricks. In the royal city of Senna, the royal carriage passed through the neighborhood of commoners. The story of the prince calling off the engagement at the engagement party yesterday had spread here. When they saw the carriage passing by, they couldn't help but whisper, "The royal carriage." It said that yesterday the crown prince was called off by Duke Brown's daughter. This carriage is heading towards Duke Brown's mansion, right? In the carriage, Payne looked at Helena confusedly and called, "Sister." Her face didn't change her emotion at all. She touched her hair with her hand. She replied, "What's wrong?" Payne turned to Randall, who was also sitting in the same carriage with them, and angrily asked, "Why is His Holiness the Pope following us?" Pope Randall suddenly asked Prince Payne, his tone a little probing. "His Highness the Crown Prince doesn't seem to welcome me." Prince Payne smiled friendly and replied, "How could that be? In the future Your Holiness the Pope will become my sister's husband, also known as my brother-in-law. Of course I want to be close to you." On the surface Payne behaved amiably towards Pope Randall, but deep down the prince was just waiting for the day to punish the Pope, in your dreams, not to mention the fact that the royal family and the temple are fighting each other politically. Yesterday you also caused Finey to become a servant of Duke Brown's mansion, making her disappointed in me. One day I will settle the score with you. Witnessing the whole forced conversation of the two, Princess Helene just smiled secretly. Her sharp wine-red eyes couldn't hide her complacency. Ha, fight each other. When the snipe and the clam fight, the fisherman benefits. The more fiercely the two fight each other, the happier I will be. A strange noise suddenly spread to the three people. Princess Helene wondered secretly, what's that sound? The carriage carrying the three people was speeding towards the Browns' residence when it suddenly encountered an accident. The carriage therefore caused the unpleasant noise just now. Due to the sudden malfunction of the carriage wheel, Helene lost her balance and fell off the bench. Just as she was about to fall to the floor, the young pope caught her in his arms. This unexpected situation made the people involved embarrassed, especially the shyness clearly visible on Helene's blushing face. At this time the driver of the carriage noticed the danger and stopped the horse from running. "Hey!" Immediately after the carriage stopped, a knight ran over to ask about the situation of the three. "Your Holiness the Pope, Your Highness the Crown Prince, Your Highness the Princess, are you okay?" Prince Payne immediately asked the knight, "What kind of carriage are you driving?" He immediately admitted his mistake. "Please forgive me, Your Highness the Crown Prince. I don't know why the carriage axle suddenly broke." As soon as the knight finished speaking, the prince immediately said loudly, "Now I still have to go to Duke Brown's mansion. If I'm late, can you take responsibility? Fix it quickly." Seeing that the prince seemed angry, the knight could only stand still and endure it, his whole body trembling. Then Payne thought to himself, he must quickly get to her side. Then he imagined the scene of Finey doing housework while enduring beatings from Nalita. In that scene Finey could only cry. Payne's face at this time clearly revealed fear. He told himself, the later he arrives, the more Finey will suffer. Then Payne turned back to the car and asked his sister, "Sister, are you okay?" Without a word answering Payne, what caught his eye at this time was the affectionate scene of the couple. Pope Randall kindly asked Princess Helene, "Are you hurt, Your Highness the Princess?" Helene then replied, "Thank you, Your Holiness the Pope." The young pope gently took Helene's hand and said slowly, "What should be done? My arms will always be open to the princess at any time." Receiving an intimate action from Randall, Helene became more and more shy. Witnessing all the sweet scene just now, Payne secretly admired. The noble pope, like a god, actually said sweet words to his sister. It really opened his eyes. After the car was repaired, they continued to move to the Browns' residence. While the car was running, Helene sat close to the window watching the scenery outside. The beautiful Princess Helene, just sitting by the window of the carriage, also exuded a dignified and noble demeanor. On the roadside where the car passed by, a commoner girl standing nearby suddenly asked her mother, "Mother, is that the cruel and inhumane princess in the rumors? The princess looks really beautiful." As soon as the girl finished speaking, her mother immediately covered her mouth to remind her, "Don't talk nonsense." At this time the mother's face was tense and scared. Immediately the mother knelt down, she hugged her child and begged, "Your Highness the Princess, please spare us, my child didn't intentionally offend you." The knight immediately went to arrest the people, daring to slander the princess in front of the crowd. "You are doomed." The mother at this time continued to beg, her tone extremely miserable, "Please spare us, we won't dare to do it again in the future." In the crowd of people who witnessed the above events, some people judged, "Look, it's indeed the truth. this woman is really cruel, another person agreed, a beautiful woman with a snake's heart. At this time Princess Helene suddenly got out of the car, she spoke up, wait. Then she ordered the knight, release them. The knight seemed surprised by Princess Helene's decision just now. The knight thought to himself, what is the princess planning to do? Could it be that she wants to execute them personally? At this time the mother continued to beg for mercy, Your Highness the princess, please spare us, we won't dare to do it again in the future. From the car, Payne suddenly spoke up, sister, what's wrong? For the commoners who commit crimes, ordering them to be executed is enough, you don't need to do it yourself. Ignoring her younger brother's words, Helene reached out to the two commoner mothers and children who were still kneeling by the road just now and said slowly, you two get up, I won't execute you. Then she continued, the ground is cold, don't let the baby catch a cold. Hearing all the princess's kind words, the mother secretly praised, her voice is so gentle, a beautiful girl. The mother at this time still didn't believe in what Helene had just said, she hesitantly asked Helene, you really won't execute us? Princess Helene replied, her tone both gentle and firm, no, you are the people of the empire, every single person is protected by the empire, as the princess of the empire. I won't trample on the lives of our people. Hearing Helene's declaration, the people around immediately praised her, the rumors are false, this princess seems to love the people very much, another person replied. That's right, I don't know who spread those rumors. Contrary to the positive reaction of the people about Helene, Prince Payne wondered secretly, isn't my sister's words directly slapping my face? At this time the mother told herself, Princess Helene seems to be different from before. Then the mother thanked Princess Helene, thank you, you are not only beautiful but also kind. Hearing all the thanks from the people of her empire, Helene thought to herself, in her previous life, in order to help Payne consolidate his power, she only focused on the nobility, never caring about the general public of the empire. Looking at the scenery in front of her, Helene told herself, water can push the boat but it can also overturn the boat, living another life, she must win the hearts of the people. From the bottom up, to be recognized by everyone. After a while of continuing to move, the three people finally set foot on the Brown's mansion. Duke Brown greeted the distinguished guests with a joyful voice, Your Holiness the Pope has come, the Duke's mansion is very honored to welcome the distinguished guests. Pope Randall at this time was holding hands with Princess Helene, he spoke up first, I came with my fiancé, don't pay attention to me, someone secretly judged the couple. Talk if you want to talk, what's with holding hands? At the same time in the distance behind the door, several maids were looking at the group of guests while always sighing, look quickly, that is His Holiness the Pope. He's really handsome, another maid replied, this is the first time I've seen the real person so close, if I could talk to him then I wouldn't regret dying. Finey secretly judged the maids, a bunch of simps Randall won't like you, he belongs to me. Then she determined, today she must leave this weird place with him. At this time Duke Brown and his son along with Pope Randall, Princess Helene and Prince Payne gathered around the lavish tea table. Immediately Prince Payne spoke up, Duke Brown, today I especially came to apologize to you, I hope you don't ruin the relationship between the royal family and the royalist because of yesterday's incident. He thought to himself, I don't know what the royal family thinks, even if I'm wrong first, I'm still a member of the royal family, how can the dignity of the royal family bow down to the Duke? Duke Brown replied sternly, Your Highness the Crown Prince, the person you should apologize to is Nalita, not me, someone secretly judged, this attitude, this tone has no sincerity in apologizing. Payne immediately said to Nalita, Brown Princess, please accept my apology, Nalita said loudly, I can't accept the apology of the noble Crown Prince. Payne couldn't bear Nalita's arrogance and raised his voice, you, Helene at this time spoke up to remind Payne, enough, Fook too, pay attention to your royal image. After finishing speaking, Helene turned to talk to Nalita, Brown Princess, I heard that you are buying ruby stones on the market, currently ruby stones are hard to find. I happen to have a ruby ring in my hand, it suits you very well, in her heart she thought, the quickest way to buy people's hearts of the royalist faction is to start with Enlightening. Brown the Duke always values his only bloodline. As soon as Helene finished speaking, Payne wondered, sister, isn't the ring you're talking about the one that father gave you on your 18th birthday, that's worth a lot of money. Helene immediately reminded her younger brother, you can't say that, good things should be on the person who understands its value to be valuable, you're right Brown Princess. Nalita after hearing the story abandoned her initial arrogant attitude and then she said slowly to Helene, Your Highness the Princess said to this extent, I accept this intention. It is true that I admire His Highness the Crown Prince for having a sister like that, who solves everything for him, changing her attitude. The Brown Princess continued, although I have been cherished by my father since I was a child, I still admire families with siblings. Hearing all of Nalita's words, Helene replied, if Brown Miss doesn't mind, she can treat me as a sister. Anyway, you almost married Fook too. In my heart I have long regarded you as a younger sister. Deep down Helene may be planning some plan, she thought secretly, fall into my embrace, my little fish, become a key connection linking me and the royalist faction. As soon as Helene finished speaking, Nalita immediately went to Helene's front. She pushed aside her ex-husband-to-be Payne and said with an excited voice, really? Then I will call you Sister Helene in the future. Helene agreed immediately, okay. Duke Brown at this time spoke up, Your Highness the Princess, this I'm afraid it's not good. Princess Helene replied to the Duke, her voice decisive, let's just say so, Duke Brown, I will report to my father always praises Brown Princess, I'm sure he will support my decision. Helene thought secretly, old man, I won't give you a chance to escape me, I will be like a vampire sucking the Browns family dry, until I become queen. Nalita turned her eyes towards Randall, she asked, Your Highness the Princess became my sister, then doesn't the Pope become my brother-in-law? Helene then replied, that's right. As soon as the princess finished speaking, Nalita immediately hugged her father, she hugged her father and cheered happily, those noble ladies will admire me. Anyway, the holy Pope and the useless crown prince, everyone will choose the Pope. Hearing Nalita's words, Payne secretly objected, when am I useless, why is there another person clinging to my sister just by coming to apologize? Then Helene said to Randall, sorry, dragging you in too. Hearing that, Randall replied gently, being a brother-in-law for the first time, it's quite interesting. Witnessing everything just now, Randall thought to himself, this is not useless, seeing a show. After a while of recognizing family, Payne hesitantly asked Princess Nalita, Brown Princess, if my sister and I become siblings, according to seniority, I'm 3 months older than you. I'm also considered half of your older brother, I have something to ask of you. Nalita's attitude towards Payne still hasn't changed, she replied to him in a cold voice, I don't dare to climb high to the crown prince, if you have something to say. Just say it, don't say useless things. Payne, while suppressing his anger, thought, damn it, yesterday we were still husband and wife-to-be, today she doesn't want to see me like this. Then Payne said to Nalita, the maid you brought back yesterday saved my life, I once promised to let her enter the palace, resulting in the unhappy incident yesterday. Now that the matter of calling off the engagement is over, can you let her go with me? Nalita listened and then mentioned, Sister Helene, as if understanding what Nalita was about to say. Helene replied, I can't make the decision on this matter. After all, this matter was personally handled by the Pope, I listened to him. Helene said to Randall, what do you think? Saying that, Helene thought to herself, it's time to expose Lando's hypocritical face, she wants to see how he can stir up the muddy waters of the royal palace. This is also the reason I brought him here, to probe his attitude towards the transmigrated woman. Noticing that everyone around the tea table was mentioning her, Finey was proud, there's a drama, I have the halo of the female lead, just by casually pointing. The men of this world will disregard everything and love me. She thought to herself, besides, I still have a trump card. Then Finey suddenly barged into the tea room where the royals were sitting, she said loudly, Pope, have you really forgotten me? Payne was stunned when he heard her voice, Finey. Glancing at Finey, Randall replied, should I remember you? Finey continued, when you were chased and killed as a child, I saved your life. Hearing the words of the female servant, both Randall and Helene quietly looked at each other. There seemed to be something inexplicable between the two, but maybe they were surprised by her revelation. After the silence just now, Helene spoke up, so you guys are in this relationship, saying that Helene secretly evaluated, no wonder Lando tolerated the transmigrated woman so much in the previous life, dare to ask if she's his white moonlight. Payne at this time was still not over his surprise, he spoke up, Finey, what are you talking about? Memories of the past flooded into the young Pope's mind, in that memory, the young Randall was running in the dark, trying to stop the bleeding from his hand. Around him echoed the voices of those who were eagerly hunting him, find him quickly, the little Pope is injured, surely he can't run far. Suddenly from above a voice called Randall, you. That voice was of a commoner girl Finey, the little girl continued, those people are going to catch you. While climbing out of the window the little girl said to Randall, you're bleeding too much. Then the little girl Finey, while giving first aid to Randall, said with a worried voice, my mother died because of bleeding too much when she gave birth to my younger sister. Are you going to die too? Randall gently rubbed Finey's head and replied, no, I won't die. Saying that he stood up, I have to go, thank you for helping. Before leaving, Randall instructed the little girl Finey, I'm at the temple, when your family comes back, tell them to go there to find me, I will grant a condition as a reward. Then Randall said goodbye to the little girl, goodbye. Even though the boy had left, the little girl Finey still followed him until his back disappeared gradually after the dark night. Back at the tea table in the Browns' residence, Randall at this time recognized Finey. He spoke up, that's right, these years I have always been looking for the girl who saved me. Finey immediately replied to Randall's words, you finally remember, that person is me, she thought to herself, with this token, isn't the male lead mine? Looking towards Princess Helene who had left her seat at this time, Finey's face couldn't hide her complacency, so what if she's his fiancée, compete with me for a man? You're not worthy, what's greater than a life-saving grace, I'm sure to win. Helene looked towards Helene, she understood, so she found the reason why the transmigrator didn't hook up with Perth in her previous life. Lando is the male lead of the script they're looking for. At this time Pope Randall walked towards Finey. He spoke up, because you are the person I'm looking for. Randall asked Finey, why did you only appear now? I went to your house, there was no one there long ago. As soon as Randall finished speaking, Finey explained to Randall while crying, Lando Kaka, you don't know, the year you left, heretics broke into my house. They took my aunt, and sold me and my younger sister to the slave market. I've always been waiting for you to come save me, but you didn't come Hearing all of Finey's words just now, Prince Payne was immediately moved. Then Payne went to comfort her, Finey don't be afraid, I'll protect you, no one can harm you in the future. Finey replied confusedly, thank you your highness the crown prince. Saying that Payne turned to speak to Helene, sister, Finey will become a slave of the Pope, what do you say? At this time Payne secretly calculated, he definitely can't blame the Pope. As long as his sister speaks, he can openly help Finey escape her slave status and bring her along with him. As soon as Payne finished speaking, Helene immediately asked Finey probing, if you are the Pope's benefactor then why didn't you say it at the engagement scene yesterday? And waited until today to reveal your identity, how do you prove that you are not an imposter? While speaking she thought to herself, if Lando is the male lead then I can't let the transmigrator have any chance to approach him, I must think of a way to alienate their relationship. Finey then replied, Lando Kaka, it's not that I didn't want to say it, but I know that the temple and the royal family have long had opposing positions, you are a noble pope. I don't want you to have any relationship with a lowly slave like me, ruining your reputation. As soon as she finished speaking, Payne immediately turned to blame Finey, why are you so stupid, he has made you suffer so much, and you're still thinking for him. She then explained, no, Lando Kaka just doesn't know, if he knew it was me, he would definitely protect me. Finishing speaking, Finey asked Randall, I'm right, Lando Kaka. Having heard all of Finey's explanation, Princess Nalita suddenly spoke up, you open your mouth and say you're protecting the Pope's reputation. Nalita continued to interrogate Finey, then why are you saying it now, are you not worried about his reputation anymore? Finally Nalita concluded with a sharp voice, it looks like you're thinking for others but in reality you're pulling yourself out, using the grace so righteously, don't treat others as fools. As soon as the princess finished speaking, her father immediately reminded, Nalita, don't be rude. Duke Brown thought secretly, he didn't expect this female slave to reveal so much information, the Pope was attacked in his youth, the power of the heretics has never disappeared. This is not bad news for the royal family. Finey continued to explain in a pretendingly humble manner, I didn't mean to, I just saw that Lando Kaka is about to marry into the royal family, maybe the relationship between the two sides is easing. So. Finey with an expression as if wanting to swallow Nalita, she secretly planned, damn cannon fodder, you're sticking to me everywhere, when I get the rights and the love of the male lead then the first person I won't spare is you. At this time Helene gently grasped Randall's hand, she said softly, Pope, how about I handle this matter? Deep down in her heart, Helene secretly calculated, the murderer who cruelly took her life, is the Pope Lando, at the moment just a word from Lando can take the transmigrator away from here. I absolutely can't let her join forces with the male lead, I must take action first. Randall asked Helene probing, what are you planning to do? She immediately replied, I will investigate her identity, after all you are not only the Pope, but also my future husband. I can't let someone with an unknown identity stay by my side. As soon as she finished speaking, Randall asked again, is the princess worried about me? Princess Helene immediately replied, her tone a little embarrassed, oh my, there are so many people, don't say it so directly. Pope Randall replied, his voice gentle, then it's troublesome for your highness the princess, he thought, although he doesn't know what she wants to do but it's very interesting, isn't it? Then Helene turned to speak to Finey, if you are indeed the life-saving benefactor of my fiancé, then I should thank you, I will help you escape your slave status. In the future you stay by my side, be my most loyal maid. Immediately Finey turned to speak to the Pope, her voice indignant, Lando Caca, what's the difference between a maid and a female slave, they both have to serve others. I don't want to live a life being trampled on. Hearing that Randall replied to Finey, you misunderstood, the maids of the royal family are all people carefully chosen by the ladies and madams, you should feel honored to be a maid of the princess. Seeing Randall suddenly speak up to help her, Helene couldn't help but be surprised, he actually spoke up to help me. Then the noble Duke Brown saw off the group of distinguished guests at the gate, on behalf of everyone, Pope Randall said to him, thank you for the hospitality today. Duke, if you have time, please come to the Holy See as a guest, Duke Brown replied slowly, it is my honor for you to come, if I have the opportunity, I will visit you. Pope Randall said goodbye to the Duke, then we're leaving, witnessing the face-to-face scene between the Pope and the Duke, Helene thought secretly, these two both secretly think the other is the villain, their acting is quite good. Just as the royal couple was about to step through the gate of the mansion, the Duke suddenly called Helene, Your Highness the Princess, please stop. Before Helene could say anything, Randall immediately kissed her hair lightly and said, then I'll wait for you in front. Helene replied immediately, okay. Receiving an intimate gesture from her fiancé, Helene was unconsciously embarrassed, why does this person keep touching, he doesn't pay attention to the place at all. Then she went to Duke Brown, she asked slowly, Duke, if you have anything to say please say it directly, the Duke then replied bluntly, Your Highness the Princess. I want to say that, although the Pope helped Lang Jia say a few good words at the engagement banquet yesterday, the political views between the temple and the royal family are destined that the two sides can't live in peace, now you and the Pope have a marriage. Then he said with a tense voice, I hope Your Highness the Princess can take this opportunity to extinguish the temple's ambition for the royal power. Helene replied to him with a sad face, Duke, you have a bit too high expectations for my marriage with the Pope. Duke Brown continued, these years the royal family has arranged a lot of eyes and ears in the temple, just like the royal family is full of the temple's eyes and ears. But normal eyes and ears can't enter the center of the opponent after all. He continued, his voice resolute, as long as you and the Pope hold the wedding, you can freely enter and exit inside and outside the temple, by that time the temple will no longer have any secrets. In other words, as long as you find a way to gain the Pope's trust, then the temple in the future will no longer be a threat to the royal family, but can also become a puppet of the royal power. Hearing all the words of the Duke, Helene replied bluntly, according to what Duke Brown said, I am very important for consolidating the royal power, if the royal family is in such imminent danger. I shouldn't have yielded the position of king to Payne in the first place, wouldn't it be better for me to be the king? He immediately reacted, how can that be possible? Duke Brown resolutely said, women from ancient times to the present were born to consolidate the government, women in this world all live under the protection of men. The princess of the royal family can use the marriage to contribute to protecting the empire, it is an incomparable honor. As soon as he finished speaking, Princess Helene's face changed, her sharp eyes examined the Duke for a while and then said, women are just an attachment to men. Then Helene moved closer to the Duke with power. At this time the Duke was still talking about the position of women, could it be that it's not, no one is foolish enough to submit to a weak woman. Helene thought secretly, those foolish men always think they are the masters of the world, but they forget that they were born under the crotch of women, this world was created by women. At this time Princess Helene replied, her tone a little contemptuous, is that so, but I think strong and weak have never been measured by gender. The Duke after receiving the answer said quickly, in short, this is also the meaning of His Majesty the King, such a good opportunity to repay the country, Your Highness the Princess must not disappoint everyone. Helene tried her best to remain calm, her voice reluctantly replying, I know, I will try my best. Finishing speaking, Helene immediately went to the carriage, while walking she thought, wanting to make the Brown family work for her is indeed not as simple as that. She still has to plan further, Lando is the male lead of the original story, then as long as she snatches him from the hands of the female lead, destroying the original plot. While thinking she secretly calculated, she can change the world she is in, moreover by doing so, she can cruelly take revenge on that transmigrated woman, they hope that she and Lando will be together. like that, then she can only achieve it. Approaching the car, Helene suddenly saw Finey and Payne talking to each other. Finey said to Payne, "Payne, I'm not a maid." Finey continued while begging, "This is my limit, help me tell your sister." Deep inside Finey's weak appearance were plans that were completely opposite to her harmless appearance. The character design in the Princess Helene's story is to support her younger brother. As long as Payne goes to tell her, she will agree to everything. Payne then comforted Finey, "Your background is not good, following sister and being her servant can learn a lot." He continued, "I'm also doing it for your own good, and also to let you be by her side." The Pope has also agreed. Payne thought, in front of him the people are weak and lack power, he absolutely can't offend the Pope casually for a woman, disobedient to his sister. Hearing all Payne's kind words, Finey secretly cursed, "Indeed a waste, you deserve to only be the cannon fodder male supporting character." Noticing Helene outside, Randall gave her a sign, "Are you done talking?" Seeing Randall and Helene, Finey secretly planned, again, now the female supporting character is engaged to the male lead. If she absolutely has to be by her side. She continued to calculate, if she can gain her trust again and wait for the opportunity to approach the male lead, bending the plot to make the male lead love her. Is also a way, waiting for a long time. Seeing Helene returning, Randall said gently to her, "As long as you come back to my side in the end, I'm willing to wait as long as you want." Hearing all the sweet words of the Pope, Helene secretly admired, is this person still the cold and abstinent Pope? He also knows how to flirt so well. Immediately Finey went to interrupt the couple, "Your Highness the Princess." She came before Helene, she said with a polite tone, "I apologize to you for the rudeness last time." Seeing Finey suddenly speak to her, Helene was vigilant. This woman, what is she planning again? Finey continued, "From now on, I will cherish the opportunity. Obediently stay by your side, and be your most loyal personal maid." Then she turned to speak to Randall with an extremely flattering look, "Lando Caca, I understand all your worries for me, don't worry about me, Your Highness the Princess must be mindful of the old feelings between me and you that year, and will definitely not treat me harshly." Hearing that, Helene secretly evaluated, "The smell of green tea is very strong. Is this a teapot exploding?" Immediately Princess Helene spoke up with a stern voice, "According to the laws of the Empire, no one can directly call the Pope's name, let alone you're just a maid. Without the permission of the master, you can't approach without permission, because you are a first-time offender. I won't punish you physically, I'll just punish you for not being able to ride in the carriage and walk back to the royal palace." As soon as Helene finished speaking, Finey immediately stunned, "What?" Seeing that Payne then spoke up for Finey, "Sister, Finey doesn't understand the rules, please spare her this time." Helene replied to her younger brother bluntly, "You also know that she doesn't understand the rules, I'm also doing it for her own good, in the royal palace, not understanding etiquette will only harm yourself and others." At this time Finey again called her savior, the Pope Randall, Lando Caca. As if not hearing Finey's voice, Pope Randall stepped straight towards the carriage leaving Finey behind still in shock. Randall came to Helene, he said gently, "Your Highness the Princess, the matter has been settled, now can we start our date?" Walking into the matter with the princess, Randall said to her, "Originally wanted to go for a walk with you but based on my identity I'm afraid it's not suitable to go to that crowded place." Helene replied slowly, "This place is quite good, I really like it." She was kind on the outside but inside she was very upset, too strange, just thinking of this man as an accomplice of the transmigrator makes me angry but I can't beat him. Leading Helene to the bridge, below was a clear blue lake full of romance. Randall said, "This is my favorite place when I'm alone." Looking towards the lake, Randall continued, "Normally after finishing work I will come here alone." He continued to confess, "But from today I will like coming here with you." She thought secretly, where did he learn this flirting line from? Then, Pope Randall personally rowed the boat to take his fiancée to enjoy the surrounding scenery. Helene thought secretly, no way, a noble pope actually goes to row a boat himself, can he do it? Noticing the unbelievable scene before her, Helene imagined, would he want to throw me into the water for the fish to eat because I bullied the female lead? Noticing Helene's worried expression, Randall gently told her, "Don't worry, you can trust my rowing skills, I can guarantee your safety." Helene replied shyly, "I'm not afraid, I just get seasick." As soon as Helene finished speaking, Randall immediately put down the oar in his hand. He slowly stepped to where Helene was sitting. At this time Helene was a little flustered. What do you want to do?" Helene secretly cried in her heart, "Don't mess around, what if the boat capsizes, I don't know how to swim." Randall stepped forward, he gently placed his hand on her head, his voice gentle, Your Highness the Princess is indeed hard-mouthed, clearly scared to sweat. I remember you don't know how to swim. As soon as Randall finished speaking, Helene then replied with a reproachful voice, so you knew, is it fun to play me? Still with a calm face, Randall said, I didn't mean that, I just want to say you can be honest in front of me, you don't need to be strong. As soon as Randall finished speaking, Helene immediately said to him, her tone a little cold, thank you for your good intentions, let's stop here today, I want to return to the palace. Saying that she thought secretly, being honest with a wolf like you is looking for death, I'm not stupid. Helene stood up making the boat sway, Randall immediately grabbed her hand and said loudly, be careful. Supporting her shoulder, he continued, the boat is too narrow, if we mess around we will fall down, she replied to him with a flustered voice, I know, let go. Regaining the balance of the boat, Helene looked at the water below and said, I see the water level seems to be rising, Randall replied to her, the capital has had heavy rain for the past month leading to floods, a lot of refugees are heading towards the capital. Hearing this, Helene pondered, floods, could it be that plot? Helene recalled the plot in the past, the scene of Payne and Finey appeared before her eyes, in the previous life heavy rain in the south led to countless wanderers. The refugees went to the capital, the transmigrated woman suggested opening the gate of the capital to help them, causing the nobles to donate money to help the refugees. She remembered, I used to help the two of them with relief efforts, offending the nobles. Helene continued, BOI2 and the transmigrator finally received benefits. Remembering those days, her tone suddenly became bitter, I became a thorn in the eyes of the nobles again. Continuing the recollection, Helene remembered, at that time the clergy also supported this policy, becoming a place to protect refugees. Her voice was resentful when she remembered the Pope, only I was the only one who lost power but didn't get anything in this matter. Finally Helene decided, this time I will absolutely not make the same mistake again, the opportunity for BOI2 and the transmigrator to win the hearts of the people, I must snatch it first. After a moment of reviewing the old story, Helene immediately said to Randall, Pope, I want to go to the refugee camp outside the capital to see, you go back first. Princess Helena and Pope Randall were striding forward, seeing many beggars on the road, so this is what the refugee area is like, I thought the refugees only lived a little worse than the ordinary people, I didn't expect it to be so miserable. Her eyes were sad, it was simply a hell on earth. The Pope explained, after the flood, the clergy once suggested helping the victims, but the nobles of the extreme ideology would rather spend money on eating and playing. And didn't want to relieve the difficulty, after all these people who are about to die won't bring any benefits. She looked at him, why is it like that, they are all human lives, and thought to herself, so helping the victims was Lando's idea, in the previous life the transmigrated woman was probably just a tool to carry out his thoughts. The soldiers following behind to protect gossiped, I remember your Highness the Princess used to be a staunch noble faction, now you seem to be very concerned about the lives of the people. She felt guilty, damn, her expression is too obvious, will the matter of my rebirth be revealed? Something was thrown towards her along with a shout making her turn back, nobles get out of here. She looked around dazed and then saw a child, who? She looked at her clothes that had been stained, where did this brat come from, this is a new formal dress I just made. Randall knelt beside her, holding a towel, wiping the dirt on her skirt, Princess don't move, I'll help you wipe it, she admired, ah. She looked at him fondly, should she say it, Lando is indeed an excellent body skill. She looked towards the culprit who made her dress dirty, who was being held by the soldiers, why did you throw me, the child had one hand on his hip, and pointed at her. Nobles are not welcome here, you get out. The figure of a person came out from behind the wall of the house behind the child and called, Tia. It was a young man, he breathed a sigh of relief, why did you secretly run out, what if you were caught? The child turned his back to the protective soldier, you, and ran away, the soldier called, don't run. The young man covered his mouth coughing violently, cough cough cough, come on, follow me back, now the patrol knights of the capital are everywhere in the refuge. Don't leave my sight, cough cough, the child hugged his brother, you have a high fever again, he said softly, I'm okay. His tired eyes looked towards the princess, hey, noble over there you guys are going the wrong way, the royal city is in the opposite direction. She was surprised, so it's him. The figure of a person appeared in her mind, Davin Payne, in the previous life the transmigrated woman obtained the title of Count after the flood, the first knight to recruit. Her impression of him, cruel, cold, merciless killing. He was a capable subordinate, loyal to the transmigrated woman. Randall looked at the princess while she was immersed in the memory before rebirth. He pressed close to her, Why, is he a person your highness the princess knows? The doctor bowed to her after examining David, while the child was still hugging him tightly like adhesive. Your highness the princess, I beg your permission to leave first. The child hugged him sobbing, brother, the doctor said you won't die, that's great. The princess reassured, your brother just has a normal cold, as long as you take medicine to reduce the fever then you can get better, of course you won't die. He looked at her with melancholy eyes, thank you your highness the princess, for leading the doctor here to examine us. In the remaining years the two of us brothers begged to be treated as cattle and horses to repay your kindness. She said, you don't need to be cattle or horses, you just need to stay here, become my knight, and thought to herself, the strongest knight Davin Paley in the future will join her command. Not only will it cause the female transmigrator to lose a capable assistant, but it can also give herself an extra layer of protection, a win-win situation. David was surprised, what, become a knight? The Pope said softly, your highness the princess, I remember commoners don't have the qualifications to become royal knights. The child was happy, that's great, my brother and I are about to become knights. The law has stipulated, that's right, the standard for joining the royal knights must be a noble. David was sad, my brother and I are just refugees, we are not worthy to protect your highness the princess at all. There is an exception to everything, no need to belittle yourself, if commoners can make contributions and achievements for the empire, they can also be exceptionally granted the honor of a knight. She smiled, currently the southern part of the empire is being flooded, if you are willing to go to the front line to help the refugees for me, I can ask my father to specially allow you to become my personal knights. The Pope wondered, personal knights, what is so special about these two brothers, why does Helena value them so much? Both brothers knelt down, we are willing to go through fire and water for you. She was satisfied, very good, you should stay in the knight's barracks to recuperate, and then set off immediately, I look forward to your bravery and resourcefulness. Leaving the room, slamming the door shut, Randall asked, your highness the princess, what is so outstanding about these two brothers? She replied, not necessarily, it's just that I like people with tenacious vitality. The two continued to walk side by side on the road. She suddenly remembered something, that's right, Cardinal, there's something I want to ask for your help. He was surprised, oh, tell me and I'll listen. She remembered the heavily guarded places, most of the empire's medicines are in the hands of nobles, commoners who are sick only have the path of death. She looked at the victims, if she could persuade them to bring medicine to distribute to the commoners, strengthen the people's physique, then even if it is after the disaster, it can reduce casualties and prevent epidemics from happening. He pondered, your highness the princess wants me to come forward to persuade the nobles, she continued, do you agree? She calculated, in her previous life, she did all these flattering things, in this life she wants to let Lando also be despised by others. He turned her around to face him. It's not impossible, just what benefits will your highness the princess give me? He lifted her chin, looked directly into her eyes, although I and your highness the princess have a marriage contract, but even brothers must calculate clearly. Your highness the princess begs me, naturally you must offer corresponding sincerity. She compared herself in her heart, this cunning fox. But on the outside she still smiled, I don't know what the cardinal wants, if you can persuade that stubborn noble, I should naturally reward you. He pressed his face close to the princess and whispered, how about this, your highness the princess give me a kiss. In the quiet royal palace, there was the voice of a girl ringing out crisply, Payne, your highness the princess punished you to return to the royal palace, your shoes are torn. Your feet are full of blisters, it hurts so much. A young man was kneeling on the ground massaging her feet, Finey, you have suffered, when sister comes back, I will help you say a few words. She was surprised, your highness the princess and the cardinal haven't returned yet. He replied, it's their first time dating, it's normal for the time to be a little longer or they will have dinner together, maybe she will only be able to return tomorrow. The door of the room was opened wide by a young man, what did you say? A face full of surprise and anger, Helen and the Pope are together. The princess was stunned by the Pope's suggestion, what, a kiss? She resisted his increasingly tight embrace, not very good, and she thought to herself, although she wants to win over Lando, and can sell her beauty when necessary. But it is definitely not the case now. He stopped his arm from hugging her, that's right. He looked at her, this transaction only asks for a kiss, I'm a little at a loss, at least it must be. She was furious, what is it, is a kiss? She thought, this greedy man, how can she expect him to help for free, taking advantage of the fact that he hasn't made any excessive demands, then let's end it here. She calmed down. Please close your eyes. He was happy, okay. He followed her request. Lips touched lips, her heart was full of emotions. Strange, why is her heart beating so fast? In her previous life she and Honest had a short marriage. She is not ignorant about men and women. She asked herself, why is she like this with this fox? To put it bluntly, the relationship between her and Lando was not as bad as it is now at the age of 6. Time turns back, 15 years ago, at a church. On the nearby lake, the clergyman was carrying 2 children, 1 male and 1 female. The beautiful little girl looked at the fish in the lake and said to the boy who was sitting and reading a book, Cardinal Caca, look quickly, there are fish in the lake. The boy looked over. Sit firmly, don't let yourself lean down like that, it's very dangerous. She waved her hand down into the lake. Little fish, come here quickly. Suddenly, she lost her balance and fell into the lake. The boy reached over, pulling her back. Be careful. She fell into the water. The boy jumped down to pull her up. At that time the clergyman in charge of rowing the boat was executed for letting the princess of the empire drown. She remembered the old story that she killed his closest relative. He couldn't not hate her. The Pope looked into her eyes and asked, Your Highness the Princess. She accepted the request, hands hugging his face. So be it, if it is destined to be enemies. Pulling him closer, hands hugging his shoulder, tilting her head to kiss his lips, I will definitely defeat you first. At that time, in the royal palace, Honest looked at the 2 people in front of him. Isn't this the female servant that Your Highness the Princess gave to Princess Brown? At the engagement party, why are you here? Payne stood up, turned to face Honest. Finey has a life-saving grace with the Pope, now she is a personal maid for his sister. She saluted, greetings His Excellency Honest. She recognized, it's him, the person who will be with Princess Helen in the original story. She remembered the picture of him kneeling, holding her feet, putting on shoes for the princess. Cape, Honest, in the original story he was the one who would be with Helene. Olsen, his character setting was a loyal king who doted on the cruel princess very much. She planned revenge. If Helene has stolen her main partner, then she must use her way to punish her, conquer Honest. Honest looked at the 2 people and warned, if the princess has taken you in, then do your job well as a female servant, don't daydream and do unrealistic things. On the outside, she respectfully saluted, but in her heart she planned, as expected of the main partner, his attitude towards her is very bad, it is also expected. But the more loyal Honest is to Helene, the more devastating it will be when he loses him, right? The prince defended before her surprise, Honest, is it your turn to teach my sister's people a lesson? Don't forget your identity, you're just a hostage, is it your turn to be in charge here? There was a confrontation between the cool Honest and the angry Payne. At the gate of the royal palace, Randall helped the princess get off the carriage. Thank you Your Holiness the Pope for bringing me back, then I'm going inside. He held her hand. Wait. He said, Your Highness the Princess doesn't invite me inside for a moment. She smiled, Your Holiness the Pope is busy with work, I don't dare to delay your work, but her heart thought differently, go quickly, as a pope, you can really be so leisurely. He stood behind her, hugging her, even if the work is busy, I can't be indifferent to Your Highness the Princess. He hugged her shoulder from behind, a little thirsty, I don't know if Your Highness the Princess is willing to reward me with a sip of water. She was angry in her heart, it seems that she has to serve this guy to the end today. He and she walked side by side. Honest came out with a surprised expression, why is Your Holiness the Pope here too? Payne answered for her, His Holiness the Pope is a gentleman recognized by the noble ladies of the empire, isn't it natural to bring his sister back to the palace? At this time the Pope spoke, Your Highness Honest, I came to the palace to ask His Highness the Crown Prince to persuade the king, the nobles, and the temple to help the victims. The prince was worried. The princess saw that her plan had failed, she asked him to do it, but he turned around and passed it on to others. Is there such a surprise? She was still hoping, but it was also the right time, she was still thinking about how to make Payne and that transmigrator take action, if they open the city gate to welcome the refugees like in her previous life, she will make their reputation completely collapse. The Pope looked at the prince, you are the future king of the empire, isn't it natural to help your people? The prince took his sister's hand, looked directly at her, but sister, in that case I will offend all the nobles, or even anger my father, she said softly. Payne. This matter is related to the lives of thousands and thousands of people, do you want to sit back and ignore it? Her heart was cold, in her previous life she rushed to the front line for this ungrateful person, the one who offended was her, the one who won the hearts of the people was him. This time, she will not make this stupid thing again. The servants served tea and cakes. That person is Finey. Hearing the news she was worried. What, they want Payne to persuade the nobles? She said, Your Highness the Crown Prince, you can't agree with them. The consequences of offending the nobles are more serious than you think. You absolutely can't do it. There was a scolding of her, presumptuous, just a small female servant, yet daring to interfere in the conversation of the nobles. Honest looked towards the princess. Helene, kill this kind of female servant who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The prince defended, no. He shielded in front of the maid. Honest, don't be there trying to sow discord, and said, It has been said that Finey has a life-saving grace with His Holiness the Pope. Sister is the fiancée of His Holiness the Pope. Do you want to harm him for taking revenge for kindness? She said, Thank you for forgiving me, Your Highness the Crown Prince. I just entered the palace and didn't know there were so many rules. Sorry, but the words I just said were really thinking for Your Highness the Crown Prince. In her heart she was annoyed. What rules? All the unequal rules are used by the female lead to break, and the male leads and male supporting characters will look at her with different eyes because of this, thinking that she is not like others. Helene looked at the maid. Oh, so your meaning is that His Holiness the Pope is harming His Highness the Crown Prince? Finey turned towards the Pope. Ran, Your Holiness the Pope, I absolutely don't mean that. The princess said to herself, she must never let the male lead misunderstand, otherwise the difficulty of the plan to snatch the male lead from the hands of the female lead will increase. Randall crossed his arms in front of his chest. I don't care what you mean, but my meaning cannot be violated. This matter is decided like this. The prince pondered. No, the flood is an important plot for him to turn over and become a count. Finey also had her own plans. When Payne won the hearts of the people, he asked the king to grant me the title of count. She put the cake plate down, knelt on the ground, and thought, in the current situation, she can only use Hylin's character to be a support for her family. She looked at Helene. Your Highness the Princess, the Crown Prince I have respected since I was young. Please think for the prince about the consequences of offending the nobles. The princess said, That's really touching. Then tell me, how should I think for the prince? In her heart she thought, does she have to go? She is not so stupid. Living this life she doesn't want to shoulder this matter. The Pope broke the tense atmosphere. It seems that you still haven't learned your lesson. Someone, take her out and kneel before the statue of the god, wash her soul from defilement. Finey looked at him pleadingly. Randall, don't treat me like this. He was cold, calling the Pope's name directly, committing a double crime. Take her down. The royal guards dragged her down. The prince begged his sister, Sister, Finey also wants to help me. She still doesn't understand the rules in the royal palace. Please forgive her. The Pope and the princess were indifferent to the begging. The dialogue in the image is unclear. Leave it blank. She looked at Finey grinding her teeth. What exactly is she trying to help you or harm you? You have to think carefully. The prince explained, Sister, I'm not trying to avoid trouble. It's just that if the royal family and the temple provide disaster relief at the same time, then the victims will definitely be more grateful to the temple, because the impression of the royal family being extravagant has been deeply rooted in people's hearts. As a result, no matter what the royal family pays, the person who benefits in the end is still the temple. I just don't want to give up the credit to others for nothing. Honest crossed his arms in front of his chest and challenged, could it be that the lives of thousands of people are not comparable to this credit? The prince was angry. Shut up, this matter is not related to you. Randall affirmed, His Highness the Crown Prince has thought too much. I swear in the name of the Pope, the temple will definitely not monopolize the credit. When I have arranged everything for the victims, I will clearly tell everyone that the royal family is the main force in the disaster relief. The princess wondered in her heart, with this guy's high status, he clearly doesn't have to do anything to ensure. He turned to look at her. Your Highness the Princess, are you satisfied with doing this? She felt guilty. Your Holiness the Pope has said so, we naturally believe it. He stood opposite her, looked at her. You can trust every word I say to you. Remember, I have always stood on her side. Morning at the king's palace. Helena and Payne are using eye contact to persuade. Father, this is my idea, please support me. Victor excitedly slammed the table. Support? You want me to turn against the nobles for a commoner? Are you crazy, Boin? Payne was confused by his father's opposition. He tried to explain. Father, His Holiness the Pope also agreed to help me with the disaster relief. He said he would beautify the image of the royal nobles in front of the victims. Don't you believe, sister? Helena next to him thought. I knew that there would be no good thing for Boin to pull her in. The king scolded even more. Ignorant, what is the relationship between the temple and the royal family? On what basis does he say he will help us? You believe whatever Lando says. Do you have no brains? Payne pushed to her, but he is the fiancé of her sister. Holding Helena's wrist up, she felt ridiculous. Sure enough, she was dragged into the water together again. She didn't know she would think she instigated you. Helena let go of her hand, turned her back to Payne, and replied coldly, Father, this time rescuing the victims is a matter of urgency, if the royal family does not participate. I am afraid that some ignorant people will become followers of the temple. We cannot let their power grow. Victor was satisfied. You think so is right. I'm just afraid that when the nobles spend money and effort, the temple will enjoy it all. What are you telling me to say to the nobles? Putting the letter of commitment on the table, she said, This father doesn't need to worry. This is the letter of commitment personally written by His Holiness the Pope. Helena continued, So the credit for rescuing the victims belongs to the royal family, and the temple doesn't take half of it. He used a magnifying glass to examine it carefully. Victor was surprised. You actually got this from Lando's hands. Skillfully replied, Sacrificing a little beauty is for the royal family and his most beloved younger brother. Helena's words made the king even more satisfied. You have such awareness. I am very happy. You are very thoughtful. But the pockets of these nobles are not easy to open. How do you plan to do it? She pointed to Payne. Now you and the Pope are engaged. If you interact with the nobles often, I'm afraid the action is unfavorable. This matter I'm afraid has to be left to Boin to solve. He was a little surprised. Huh. She looked at him and thought, she won't hold the pot, she won't hold it even if she dies. Payne happily agreed, Rest assured father, if sister has helped me get the letter of guarantee by sacrificing herself, I will definitely do well. Victor then praised, Helena, your younger brother has really grown up and is responsible. He will definitely be the pride of the empire in the future. Helena pretended to be happy and continued. Father is right. Feeling disgusted in her heart, in her previous life she asked you to support her. Why didn't you praise her? The preference for sons over daughters is too obvious. Leaving the king's room, the guards respectfully bowed, Your Highness the Princess. Anas hurried over, anxiously asking, Helena, what's going on? Did His Majesty the King agree to help the victims? Helena was a little surprised. You care about this matter very much, he said worriedly. Human lives are important, although the Charlemagne Empire has always suppressed our kingdom of Lorraine. The people are innocent. She replied while walking, Agreed, he will persuade the nobles to spend their own money. This matter is left to Boin. In her heart Helena admired secretly. Although Anas was ungrateful to her in her previous life, she can't deny that he is a benevolent monarch who loves the people. Anas asked with suspicious eyes, Relying on that useless Boin, he definitely can't think of a way. Did he ask her to help him again? Helena then denied, No, maybe this time he has a better choice. Helena remembered that in her previous life she prepared a party to invite the richest nobles in the empire. When the party started, she then locked them in the palace under the name of illness, forcing them to compromise with her. When the compromise was successful, only then did no nobles agree to participate in her party again, and her reputation also deteriorated. She was self-satisfied and looking forward to, this time without her rushing in, how will the transmigrator be able to sit on the position of count? It really makes people look forward to it. Sunlight shone through the window. A call came Finey, at the female servant's room. He sat next to Finey, sullenly asking, Are you blaming me for being incompetent, for not being able to protect you? Finey sighed, At first I was willing to follow you into the palace. It was to repay your kindness, to assist you in becoming a great king. She said with a warm and tearful face, But now I don't even have the qualification to speak, so what's the point of staying here? Payne's heart was heavy. He bowed his head, I'm sorry. Clearly you have such talent and are so kind, but sister has too much prejudice against you. Remembering the moment that moved Payne's heart, I will never forget your graceful dancing posture and the wonderful singing voice at the auction. The noble ladies of this entire empire can't compare to you. He said shyly, So I disregarded everything and brought you into the royal palace. Payne said apologetically, But now, I have instead made you step into another cage. Rest assured, I will definitely let sister know your good points. Finey added fuel to the fire even more, No need, I have a life-saving grace with the Pope. Maybe she has already regarded me as a rival in love. Who knows, I might die for no reason in the royal palace someday. Holding her hand tightly, Payne was blinded by Finey. Does she dare? If she really does that, I will sever ties with her. Squeezing Payne's hand tightly, earnestly saying, Your Highness the Crown Prince, if you really want to protect me, please help me escape from Your Highness the Princess. Give me a legitimate identity, Finey thought to herself. Although the current plot has deviated from the original story, she absolutely can't miss the opportunity to carry out disaster relief and have the king confer the title of count. Payne said worriedly, but even if I am the crown prince, I can't control my sister's people. It's not easy for me to take you away. Finey then took the opportunity to open her mouth. Don't worry, I have thought of a way. This way is related to the disaster relief and raising funds from the nobles without offending them. When the disaster relief is successful, I hope that your highness the crown prince will say good words to his majesty the king to help me, and grant me the title of count. At the temple, a blessing was given. Use the name of the holy god to baptize the child. The lovely child was receiving good words. May you follow the will of the God of light throughout your life, and may your faith be firm and understand the truth. The Pope instructed them, raise him well. The child's parents bowed their heads. Thank you, Pope. Helena sat under the chair watching them. Watching the child intently without knowing that she was waiting for him, Helena called softly, Cardinal. Pope Randall came to her side. So your highness the princess has come. Why didn't you have someone inform me in advance? She looked up at him. It's been a long time since I came here. This place has changed a lot. Randall was a little surprised. Does the princess remember what it looked like before? Helena stood up and went straight to the point. That's right, Cardinal. I'm here today to thank you for the letter of commitment you left for the royal family. Randall leaned over, his face closer to Helena. Speaking of which, your highness the princess, I heard that you said in front of the king that you had to seduce me for the letter of commitment. She avoided the eyes staring at her and replied confusedly, that was just a small lie. The cardinal doesn't need to mind. Pope Randall looked up at the sacred place before him, but this is the temple. He crossed his arms, teasing, your highness the princess, lying in front of God will take away what you want most in your life. Helena naively believed it was true. She anxiously asked with her big round eyes, the words have been said and can't be taken back. You are the Pope, do you have a way to salvage it? Putting his hand on Helena's shoulder, he said softly with his warm voice, this is very simple. Just turn the princess's words into reality, then it doesn't count as lying. Helena replied coldly, what do you mean? You want me to seduce you for real? Turning his back to her, Randall waved his hand and said, forget it, I have the good intention to help your highness the princess cover up. Let the light of God punish you. Anyway, the target of punishment is not me. She was scared and hurriedly called him, wait, how should I do it? Randall pressed his body close. The atmosphere was full of ambiguity. If the princess doesn't know, I don't mind teaching you step by step. First, you should hug my neck. Helena was shocked and hurriedly used her hands to shield her body. Hug your neck for what? Randall pulled her against his shoulder. Of course it's to fulfill your lie. The princess is not cooperating like this. If you offend the god of light, the punishment will be doubled. Helena pushed Randall away in a panic. I know, don't come any closer, I'll do it myself. Randall leaned down and put his face close to probe her emotions. Arms around his neck, two eyes met with attachment. Randall raised his hand around her waist, like this. Lifting her small chin, his eyes fixed on Helena's lips. Next, we need to roleplay each of our characters. I am the cold Pope, you are the princess who uses unscrupulous means to seduce me in order to get the letter of commitment. A voice full of provocation, use your seduction to conquer me, make me voluntarily dedicate everything to you. Helena shyly reluctantly said, Cardinal, I like you, please give me the letter of commitment. Pope Randall still wouldn't let go. Dear princess, your perfunctory attitude is unacceptable, you must have emotions, and use actions to prove your sincerity. Because I am not an easy man to be deceived, without a little determination I will not fall into the trap. She pushed him down, sat on Randall's body. Cardinal, you go under, I'm still used to being on top. Their lips almost touched each other. So that's it, I have remembered it. Helena was sexy in front of the Pope. She touched her lips with her hands full of charm. Pressing her body against Randall's, her eyes were full of provocation. The Cardinal's kissing skills still need a lot of improvement. He fascinatedly looked at Helena. Well, now I'm asking the princess to teach me more. Outside, Payne and Finey were stunned when they saw the scene of the two being intimate. He subconsciously called, sister. Finey panicked and asked, what are you doing? Payne blushed as he looked at them. In broad daylight, his sister and the Pope are doing this in the temple, so it's true that his sister said she would sacrifice her beauty last time. He cried sadly in his heart, rest assured sister, I will not let you sacrifice in vain, I will definitely raise enough money for disaster relief. Helena left the Pope's arms. What are you doing here? Payne hurriedly went over. Sister, I have thought of a way for the nobles to donate. She stood behind Payne, secretly annoyed in her heart. Her male lead was insulted. She must make Helena Olsen pay the price. Suddenly Helena asked the two of them, is it beautiful? Nestled in Randall's arms, she used her soft hands to grope his face, angrily warned Finey, "My fiancé's face is very beautiful. I see you've been looking at him for a long time. I have a very strong possessiveness. If there is a next time, I will definitely gouge your eyes out." Finey hurriedly bowed her head to apologize. "I won't dare to do it again, Your Highness the Princess." Helena looked at her with a smug look, waiting until Payne made a request. "Let's see if you can still smile." Outside, the shadow of the tree shone into the sanctuary. "Speak, what is the way to raise funds?" Payne said excitedly, "Organize a charity party." Helena was calm and didn't react a bit. "Organize a party? Is this any different from what she did in her previous life?" He continued, "But it's not realistic to directly ask the nobles to donate money to the refugees. No one will happily do that. I have a great way to make them willingly pay." Randall was a little interested. "Does His Highness the Crown Prince have this ability? Then I must listen." Helena looked at Finey, who was shy next to Payne. "Making the nobles willing to spend money. What method did the transmigrated woman think of for Payne?" She was starting to get interested. He began to talk about his plan, about Queen Chris, the eternal moonlight of the Empire. The talented woman of the Empire, her rose core defeated all enemies on the border of the Empire, invincible. Payne praised, she was also the only one who could make nobles and commoners stand together to welcome her, a legendary figure. Queen Chris is the pride of the entire Empire. If we auction her armor and sword at the charity party. Helena was a little surprised. "So your way is to ask for her mother's relics, Payne." Payne tried to persuade, "Sister, your mother protected the Empire all her life. Now the people are in trouble. If she was still alive she would definitely be willing to help." Finey stood behind and smiled smugly. Princess Helen probably didn't expect Payne to make such a request, but with her personality she definitely can't refuse. She was satisfied thinking that, "I just want you to lose your mother's only relic. My revenge has only just begun. Wait and see." Helen Olesen. Randall next to him also continued, "I remember that when the Queen passed away she handed over the command of the Rose Corps to you, but you immediately handed it over to the Crown Prince." Helena smiled awkwardly. She secretly replied, "That's right, in her previous life she was really a pig." Remembering that time, she didn't expect that she would hand over the important power her mother left to Payne. Helena disgustedly thought, if it weren't for the Rose Corps to protect them, she doesn't know how many times he and that transmigrated woman would have been assassinated to death. Finey spoke up again, "Your Highness the Princess, you loved the Crown Prince so much that you handed over the military power. Surely a small sword and armor is not a problem." Payne took Finey's hand and confidently said to her, "Although my sister and I are not biological siblings, she loves me the most. She has never refused my request." The Pope leaned into Helena's ear and teased, "I'm really jealous of His Highness the Crown Prince. I also want Your Highness the Princess to love me more. I don't need military power. I just need Your Highness the Princess to pay more attention to me is enough." Helena secretly resented, "Of course you don't need military power, what you want is royal power." She stood and praised him, "This is really a good plan, Payne." Payne happily said, "That's right, sister, this is the plan that Finey came up with. I told you that Finey is very smart and special. She is not like other girls." He thought that, the time has come, he must change his sister's misunderstanding of Finey and help her become a count. Her voice became gentler, "Your Highness the Crown Prince." Finey felt annoyed, "This idiot, didn't I tell him to keep it a secret before success? Helen Olesen already has hostility towards me. Isn't the situation worse now?" He didn't understand Finey's meaning at all, and continued to praise her in front of Helena, "Sister, Finey is really good, besides you, she is the best person to me. If you can get along with her, I will definitely be very happy." Helena seized the opportunity to counterattack, "Whether you are happy or not has nothing to do with me." Helena angrily scolded, "A small female servant dared to instigate His Highness the Crown Prince to covet the relics of the Queen. It seems that it's not okay not to teach you a lesson about the rules today." Payne frowned, "Sister," she said coldly, "if you know so much about my mother's relics, then did you tell her that my mother also has a prison dedicated to holding traitors?" Protecting Finey, she took the opportunity to retreat behind Payne, "Sister, Finey only wants to help me solve difficulties. You can't lock her up in such a terrible place." Finey looked pitiful, "Payne, please explain to the princess. I'm only for the benefit of the people of the Empire. I have no malicious intentions." Seeing Finey's weakness, Payne said distrustfully and shouted at Helena, "Sister, if anything happens to Finey I will not forgive you." Helena didn't care about Payne's frustration, and said coldly, "If you hate me, then just hate me." She felt annoyed, she didn't care about the love of a traitor. Helena then ordered the soldiers, "Someone, take this maid to the prison of my palace." The soldiers outside heard the order and quickly entered. Yes, Your Highness the Princess. Finey hurriedly went to seek the mercy of Randall. His Holiness the Pope, please help me. I really didn't intentionally make the princess angry. I have a life-saving grace with you. Are you going to let the princess kill me? The Pope then replied, if you have said so, I will go with you. She looked at him happily. I knew it, the male lead will never abandon me. They went to the Rose prison. Payne anxiously shouted, be gentle, if she is injured, I will not let you go. He personally supported Finey, who was trembling. The soldiers looked at them confusedly. Is the crown prince sick? Helena turned to express her doubts. It seems that the Holiness the Pope cares a lot about this maid of mine, or I'll give her to you, but in her heart she was annoyed. Dream on, I will absolutely not let you collude with each other. The Pope skillfully denied, do I have that? Helena resentfully avoided the Pope, if not, then why did you go to my palace with her? I punish my maid, you don't care. Are you afraid that I will kill her? Randall realized her displeasure, and gently stepped forward. The princess may have misunderstood. He skillfully replied, I only came to the palace to admire the beauty of the Rose prison of the late Empress. As for whether you kill her or not, I don't care. The Empire has the laws of the Empire. The royal family has the rules of the royal family. She doesn't see the situation clearly, gives up her pride. Sooner or later she will bring destruction upon herself. Her heart was firm, not letting those words shake her. If she really believed what he said, then it would be like a sow climbing a tree. In her previous life she couldn't forget that female transmigrator making waves thanks to Lando's power. Remembering her previous life, she suffered in this prison. She locked her in the prison that her mother left behind, using all kinds of torture to torture her, making her almost want to die. Helena swore that in this life, she will let her taste all the pain she has experienced. Looking at the torture devices on the table, this is quite good. And also the torture chair next to it, this is not bad either. Seeing Randall's interest, Helena was a little suspicious. Did he really come to visit? Finey fell into Payne's arms and shouted, it hurts so much. Crown Prince, His Holiness the Pope save me. The soldiers then waved their hands. I didn't touch you. Payne felt sour in his heart. He looked at Helena angrily. Sister, if anything happens to Finey, I will not forgive you. Helena calmly replied, if you feel so sorry for her, then return the Rose Army's token to me. I guarantee she will get out of here unharmed. Payne was even more panicked. You have never taken back what you have given me. This is not like your style at all, sister. Continuing to attack Payne's psychology, just say, are you going to return it? If not, I will lock her in the blood prison immediately. You know, in that blood prison is all the blood of death row inmates, just soaking for a few days, the body will rot and grow maggots. Helena felt wronged. This is the experience that she personally experienced in her previous life. It can be said to be unforgettable. Finey pretended to be pitiful, constantly begging, don't, princess, please spare me. I will definitely be a mute in the future, and dare not talk nonsense anymore. She raised her hand, urging Payne, choose, my brother, is it power or this woman? Payne excitedly questioned Helena, sister, the Rose Army is the strongest guarantee that can ensure that I ascend the throne smoothly. You told me this when I was young. You have been planning for me for so many years. Why have you changed after getting engaged to His Majesty the Cardinal? He angrily pointed at the Pope and blamed, you now want to take back my military power. Is it because you betrayed the royal family for him, and helped him become the king? Randall next to him was confused. What eyes does this idiot use to see that the princess is wholeheartedly with him? Helena looked wronged. Shut up, Payne, Olsen, I have loved you since I was young, and always planned for you, but why do you treat me like this? She resentfully blamed Payne. You have been arguing with me 3 times 7 times for a female servant you have only known for a few days. You colluded with her to plot against my mother's relics left for me. You even want to turn against me for her. It is you who didn't recognize this sister first. Don't blame me for not being considerate of sibling love later. He suddenly hesitated in front of Helena, holding her hand and lowering his voice. Sister, if I apologize to you. Using a remorseful expression to beg Helena, can you give up taking back the Rose Army? I promise, I will respect and love you as before. Payne shyly turned to scold, what are you laughing at? Randall expressed his loyalty, protecting her rights. The Rose Army was originally left by the late Empress for Your Highness the Princess, even if His Highness the Crown Prince does not hand over the military order. I believe that as long as Your Highness the Princess issues an order, the Rose Army will turn around and be loyal. The Pope took the opportunity to ridicule the prince, speaking of which, if His Highness the Crown Prince really sees the princess as the most beloved relative, He should not seize the princess's things as his own. After all, the Rose Army is also regarded as the late Empress's relics left to your highness the princess. Helena looked at the Pope uncomfortably. Is this guy speaking up for her? Could it be that he is also eyeing the Rose Army? Randall knelt down aggrievedly and held Helena's skirt and cried. Wife, I'm so wronged. Feeling that it was impossible to use the trick of soft coercion, Payne impatiently changed his tone. Sister, it seems that if you don't achieve your goal today, you won't stop. He said, at first you gave it to me. Payne expressed his disappointment. I thought you were the person who loved me the most in the world. Now I return it to you. You will no longer be my sister in the future. Helena was satisfied with Payne's way of turning against her. Very good. I hope you will remember what you have said today. In her heart she was full of anticipation for the battles that will follow. This is just the beginning. From now on, I will demand back what belongs to me. Demand it back one by one. Payne loudly asked, now can I take Finey away? Helena replied without hesitation, go. If you value this maid so much, I'll give her to you. Looking at her with distressed eyes, Finey, starting from now, you are free, your highness the crown prince. Finey pretended to blame herself. It's all because of me that you have fallen into this trap. Pulling Finey away, he left a message for Helena. I will tell the truth to the father, about the Rose Army. I will think of a way to explain to the father myself. She stood still without fear. Helena helplessly suppressed her anger. This useless thing, if you can't beat me then you find a backer. If you have the ability then fight me 1 versus 1, I will accompany you to the end. Randall looked at her with puzzled eyes. What just happened didn't seem to be a joke. The two siblings had really fallen out, but didn't she always protect and give her feelings to her half-brother? Why has she suddenly become a different person recently? The Pope asked curiously, Your Highness the Princess, if His Highness the Crown Prince really accuses you to the king, your situation may not be very optimistic. Randall reached out, opened his mouth, if the royal family has no place for you to stay, or you can consider putting me on the throne. The two soldiers were still standing there. She turned around and ordered, everyone withdraw. The soldiers then bowed, yes, Your Highness the Princess. She turned her face away, avoiding the Pope's gaze. Your Holiness the Pope, this is the royal palace. Even if you are my fiancé, I can't guarantee that these words will not reach the ears of the king. He stepped closer to her. Your Highness the Princess is worried about me. Pressing close to her ear, his breath blowing in Helena's ear. If the king and I quarrel over this, who will you support? Helena replied without hesitation, of course I will stand on the side of my father, so I ask His Holiness the Pope to be careful with his words and actions in the future. On the surface, expressing her loyalty to Victor Olsen, but deep down Helena hoped that, no way, it's best if you guys fight, mutual loss, I will lead the Rose Army to benefit. At that time she will use all her strength to cheer for them, go on. They walked together, the Pope teased from behind, I was just joking, Your Highness the Princess don't take it seriously, Helena seriously reminded, I only listen for fun. But I don't like this kind of joke, I don't like being someone else's pawn. Still bearing grudges in her heart, joking, in her previous life he tolerated that one making the empire chaotic, and the people suffering, she will never forget. She turned to skillfully say goodbye to the Pope, it's getting late, I don't dare to bother His Holiness the Pope to handle church affairs, you have also visited the Rose Prison. Please go back, Pope Randall asked longingly, I have already arrived, doesn't Your Highness the Princess invite me for a meal? Helena hurriedly refused, my taste is picky. I'm afraid His Holiness the Pope is not used to eating it. Her heart was full of discomfort and anger. If it wasn't for him, she didn't think she would have easily taken back the Rose Army's mobilization order, but this is only the first step in his plan. To pull her to betray the royal family, she must not fall into his trap. Helena was determined that she couldn't let the Rose Army fall into the hands of the temple. She had to prevent the transmigrator and Rando from linking up, and also had to be careful of Rando taking advantage of her. She changed her face, grasped the Pope's hand and said with a smile, if Your Holiness the Pope says so, I will have someone prepare a lavish dinner. Randall was suddenly shocked. What's going on? Why did her attitude change so quickly? Walking out of the prison, she saw the two of them talking about something. Helena stepped forward and mocked, what are you doing here? Aren't you listening to our conversation? Payne replied disgustedly, we are not so despicable, it's just that Finey has a few words she wants to say privately with His Holiness the Pope. Finey looked at her with pleading eyes, is that okay, Your Highness the Princess? Helena then agreed, of course, with my status, I won't make a mistake with a female servant. Payne said angrily, don't insult Finey in the near future, I will definitely help her escape her status as a female servant, and become a noble. you just wait and see. Finey called shyly, His Holiness the Pope. The two stood far away in a corner to talk. Finey expressed her reproach to Randall, I know you don't like me interfering in the matters of Your Highness the Princess and His Highness the Crown Prince. But it's all for you, so I divided them. Hearing that the princess was for him, the Pope was interested. For me, this way of speaking is really interesting, why don't you explain it clearly? Finey then changed her mind, she began to express, His Holiness the Pope, don't you still understand my heart, from the first time I met you when I was a child? I have not been able to forget you. Finey said with all sincerity, I know what you want, power, the hearts of the people, I can help you achieve it. Finey smugly thought that, I have read the script and understand his desires, I don't believe he is unmoved. Randall questioned her, if I get power, the first person I kill will be the crown prince, didn't he save your life, are you repaying your benefactor like this? The Pope despised the woman standing in front of him, this stupid woman, actually wants to revolve between me and the crown prince, who gave her that confidence. Finey became even more anxious, for you, I am willing to do anything, even to be an informant in the palace, monitoring every move of the crown prince. The Pope replied with interest, oh, that sounds good, then let me see how far you can go. After speaking, Randall then turned and left. Finey revealed a joyful expression, she has finally been trusted by him. He went to say kindly, the princess has been waiting for a long time, let's go. The two walked together side by side. Helena asked curiously, what did she say to you? She couldn't help but speculate, the female transmigrator is now likely to resort to desperate measures because of the change in the plot, she can't guarantee that she won't take out the final move. To steal the male lead from her, she must always be on guard, and absolutely not let Land love her again. The Pope did not hide anything, and replied bluntly, she said she would help me be an informant next to the crown prince, monitoring every move of the crown prince. What does the princess think? Helena couldn't help but be surprised by his unhesitating words, he really didn't hold back anything, daring to say it so directly to her. It seems that he completely doesn't regard her as a competing opponent. Helena smiled mockingly, I think she is really superfluous, currently the palace is full of the Pope's eyes and ears, everyone is more reliable than her. Randall replied, it's not the same, His Highness the Crown Prince cares about her, something that other informants can't do. Helena followed his words and continued. That's right, with her here, it feels like your chances of ascending the throne are a little higher, she is so loyal and deeply in love with you, and has a life-saving grace. You must be very touched by what she said, right? Getting closer to Helena, his voice was full of ambiguity, the princess seems to care a lot about the relationship between me and her, but unfortunately, I am a cold-blooded man. In my heart besides the princess I can't hold another woman, she sighed secretly, tisk, smooth tongue. With a somewhat flustered mind, Helena quickly walked away, the princess must believe me, she pretended to be angry, you withdraw all the eyes and ears in my palace and then say these words. At this time at the crown prince's palace. Finey was excited to be served by the servants, putting on a gorgeous dress, she proudly ordered, bring the jade over here to me. The servant smiled embarrassedly and quickly explained, Miss Finey, those are all treasures that the princess gave to His Highness the Crown Prince, His Highness usually doesn't let anyone touch them. Finey revealed a fierce look and shouted loudly, I told you to bring them, then bring them, I will take responsibility for whatever happens. The servants suppressed their anger, bowed their heads and obeyed, yes, you slut, in their hearts they were all cursing, just a temporary maid favored by the crown prince. Yet daring to dream of the princess's jade. The door was opened, Finey, I have told father about the Rose Army. He recounted with a headache, father was indeed very angry, and wanted to order sister to return the command of the army to me, but I have been thinking about it. His Holiness the Pope is right, the Rose Army is a legacy of the late Empress. Payne was worried in his heart, I shouldn't have competed with sister, sister has loved me since I was a child, this time it must have been because I made sister angry that she said these words. I'm worried that sister will really not pay attention to me anymore. She deliberately showed off the jewelry she had just obtained, Your Highness the Crown Prince, the princess has never truly loved you, it's all fake, this time she can seize the Rose Army. Next time she can seize the position of heir to the throne, you are right to do this, Payne was shocked when he saw it. He widened his eyes, wait. Payne then changed his tone, what are you wearing around your neck? Two frightened servants immediately knelt down, Your Highness the Crown Prince, please spare us, we told Miss Finey that they were all treasures that the princess had collected for you from childhood to adulthood, but she didn't listen and insisted on touching them. Use a serious expression to say to Helena, take it off. Finey was surprised by his attitude. What? She took off the necklace and said angrily, last time the princess casually gave Princess Brown a ruby worth a fortune, but what did you get, yet you foolishly guarded it like a treasure. She no longer considers you as her closest younger brother. Payne looked at her irritably. Finey, I don't like your current attitude. She began to act, pretending to be aggrieved and scolding Payne. What attitude? I have endured all kinds of humiliation from the princess for your sake, but now you are so angry just because I touched her necklace. Payne sighed. Finey, there are too many misunderstandings between you and sister, and so am I. We shouldn't have become like this. Taking advantage of the prince's discouragement, Finey brainwashed him. Your Highness the Crown Prince, don't deceive yourself anymore. I guess the princess has long had the intention of seizing the throne. That's why she has been constantly hindering you from helping the people affected by the disaster, because she wants to use you to highlight her wisdom. You just don't dare to admit that the sister you trust the most has changed long ago. The words made him a little shaken. Payne turned to the important topic. In 3 days is the charity party, and it just so happens that the dependent countries will come to the empire to pay tribute. They will also participate. This is very important for the empire's majesty and image. If you want to surpass the untouchable class to become a count, then find a way to take over this party. Finey replied enthusiastically, rest assured, Your Highness the Crown Prince, even if there are no relics of the late Empress to auction, I also have other cards in my hand. Finey had seen through everything long ago, the script in her hand. She had long known the characters who would come. Wait for me to conquer them one by one. At the Rose Palace. Seeing Caponis constantly coughing, Helena went to him worriedly. Why didn't you tell me when you were sick? Has the doctor come to see you? Anis replied gently, I'm fine. When you come to see me, my illness will be cured immediately. Helena had seen through his personality a long time ago, if she hadn't experienced his ruthless abandonment. In her previous life, she would have been touched by his sweet words. She sat down. Helena stated her intentions. I came not only to visit you, you were sent to the empire by the Grand Duchy as a hostage that year to quell the civil war. Now do you think about going home? Caponis replied vaguely, I don't understand your meaning. Helena said, in 3 days the Crown Prince will organize a charity to raise money for disaster relief according to my father's order. At that time the envoys of your Grand Duchy will also participate. He then became unhappy. What does this have to do with me? Holding the hot teacup, Helena said seriously, I will say it directly, Anis Bach, currently the struggle for the throne in the Grand Duchy is in its final stage. Your siblings only have the second prince left. I can help you return to the Grand Duchy with the smallest price to compete for the throne. Caponis continued to cough and replied tiredly, I have never said that I want to be the king, or, is this what you hope for? She put the teacup to her lips and said without hesitation. That's right, I need your power to help me deal with the Crown Prince and the Pope, to help me become the Queen of the Empire. The cough became more and more. You have really changed. You could have said these words a little more tactfully. As long as you coax me a little, I would be willing to pay everything for you. Putting down the teacup, Helena replied calmly, I don't hope that I and anyone will have an alliance with feelings. This is just a suggestion. Whether you agree or not will not affect my next plan. She stood up to say goodbye. Let's stop here today. You take good care of yourself. Think about it. Turning around to prepare to leave, Anis said aggrievedly, you don't have no feelings for me. Otherwise you wouldn't need to care whether I want to go home or not. In fact, helping me become the king is fake. You know my mother is seriously ill, and want me to go back to see her one last time, right? Helena avoided Anis's question. You think too much. Answer me before the charity party. Helena began to recall. In her previous life Anis heard the news of his mother's death in the empire, and was extremely saddened. She was determined that she was powerless and could only be by his side. Now, she will return a little of what you gave me in the previous life. At the party that day, the guests were constantly talking. Have you heard? The princess has taken back the Rose Army. A princess will have to marry for alliance sooner or later. On what basis does she seize the royal resources? They stood and chatted together, talking about the problem with Helena. Military power is related to the stability of the empire. What kind of system is it for a woman to hold it? She wore a luxurious dress, holding a glass of wine and walking down. It seems that you like to gossip very much. The girls just now were startled and looked at each other in fear. Princess. Without hesitation, pour the glass of wine down. Let me help you rinse your mouths. Her face flashed with wine. She screamed in horror. Helena said leisurely, discussing the royal family. According to the laws of the empire, you will be punished by cutting your tongue. The girls just now knelt down at Helena's feet in fear, and hurriedly begged for mercy. Your Highness the Princess, please spare us, we won't dare to do it again. A voice came, it's so lively here, what interesting thing happened, the steward then greeted, His Holiness the Pope. Pope Randall wore an elegant dress and stepped into the party excitedly. Those girls who were begging Helena, looked at Randall with expectant eyes, Your Holiness the Pope, you are compassionate and will definitely not kill innocent people. They then turned to him for help, Your Holiness the Pope, please save us, Your Highness the Princess wants to cut our tongues off. Helena then opened her mouth, You have arrived. She felt ridiculous for them, she was only scaring them a little, but these people went to tattle, she wanted to see how Lando would handle it. Randall then asked Helena, Your Highness the Princess, is this true, why did you do this? She said, They spoke ill of me right in front of me, I'm not happy. The three of them trembled and didn't dare to look up. Helena guessed that as the Pope, he would definitely show compassion and ask her to spare these people. He looked at them and asked, Is that so? The three of them hurriedly promised, We will never talk nonsense again, Your Holiness the Pope. They were smug in their hearts. What is the princess? The Pope and the king are equal, he will definitely not let this cruel princess do evil. Helena was full of expectations, is His Holiness the Pope going to beg for mercy for them? The Pope then replied, It is really inappropriate to cut the tongues of these young ladies. Helena looked down and ordered them to leave, because His Holiness the Pope has begged for mercy for you, this matter is considered to be over. The three of them rejoiced and repeatedly bowed to apologize. Thank you His Holiness the Pope, thank you Your Highness the Princess. Hurriedly leaving, the Pope then stopped them, Wait, did I tell you to leave? Helena looked at the man before her and thought, what is he doing, not planning to let them go, but telling her to leave. Randall put his hand on her shoulder to reassure her, don't worry. He reached out and gently tucked her hair, I will not let you suffer. Helena didn't understand what was going on. Randall looked coldly at the gossiping nobles behind him and said, The punishment of cutting the tongue can be waived, but those who dare to slander the future Pope, drag them down and shut their mouths with poison. She was surprised at this cruelty. What? He raised Helena's face and gently asked, Are you satisfied with the result? Without you taking action, you can still make the hateful pay the price. She carefully looked at Randall and thought, this man is even more terrifying than she imagined. The Duke Brown's daughter was also present at this party. Nalita was happy to meet Helena Olsen, Sister Hylin, I have finally waited for you. She still kept a cold expression and asked, Nalita, what do you want? She held her skirt and rushed to tell her, Isn't it that servant Finey? She really made me angry. She also recounted the information she had heard. I heard that recently she is using the name of the Crown Prince to win over the noble ladies everywhere. Even though she hated her, Nalita couldn't hide her jealousy, that's the thing, but she is also a bit capable, creating something called a mask, which can make the skin smooth and more beautiful after use. She said angrily, Sister Hylin, I heard that she also presented the king with something called gunpowder. It is rumored that it can kill the most ferocious beasts from 100 steps away. The king has ordered that if she can successfully perform it in front of the envoys of the countries, she will be granted the title of count. Helena seriously recalled her memories, gunpowder, that was what appeared in the plot in her previous life. She recalled the tragic memories, in her previous life because of the appearance of gunpowder, her father under the instigation of the female transmigrator arbitrarily attacked neighboring countries to expand territory. Tragic wars broke out, then, the countries successively created the gunpowder formula, and the war continued to escalate. The people fell into misery and suffering, countless civilians lost their homes and families because of this, and the world became hell. She was determined not to let this happen, living another life, she will never give her a chance to show the power of gunpowder, and not let innocent people become sacrifices for those with ambitions. Randall suddenly turned back and asked, Your Highness the Princess, what's wrong with you? Nalita reassured her, Sister Hylin, even if she is lucky enough to be made a count by the king, she can't compare to you, who are inherently noble, you don't need to pay attention to this maid. She denied, I don't care about her, I care about her gunpowder. She just realized that, she misspoke. Randall unconsciously looked at her and asked, What is gunpowder? Your Highness the Princess knows it. She only smiled awkwardly and denied, How would I know? I'm just curious. Helena again remembered the memories of her previous life. In the era of cold weapons, gunpowder was definitely a very powerful weapon. In order to obtain the gunpowder formula, the ambitious people tried their best to win over the female transmigrator and were willing to become her pawns. There was also the appearance of the man next to her, including the Pope Lando, who started everything. She firmly resolved she must never let him snatch her throne. Randall was very eager, hearing you say that. I am also looking forward to the gunpowder performance tonight, Helena thought. She will make your expectations in vain. A noble girl waved to them calling, young miss. Nalita turned to say goodbye and prepared to leave. Sister Hylin, my friend is here, I have to go. She also said goodbye to her. Go ahead. Helena turned to smile and said to Randall, ah, dear Cardinal, isn't that maid your person? She is ready to monitor all the actions of the Crown Prince for you. Why doesn't she offer the gunpowder to you? Could it be that the title of Count is more important than you becoming king? She planned to take this opportunity to sow discord and ascend the throne. Early. A female voice shouted in protest from nowhere, it's not like that. It turned out to be the scheming Finey. She spoke, please listen to my explanation, Your Holiness the Pope. Helena looked at her contemptuously. It seems that the lesson last time was not enough. She said in a pretentious tone, Your Highness, from tonight, I will no longer be a servant for you to ravage at will. Don't dream that you can do anything to me anymore. On the outside, she pretended to be looking forward to it, but inside she secretly planned, is that so? I am very much looking forward to seeing what you can do. She is aiming for the title of Count, but today I will let her know what it means to humiliate herself. She turned her face 180 degrees to talk to Randall. Dear Holiness the Pope, can you give me a few minutes to talk privately? But she was directly rejected. Say what you have to say here. Her Highness the Princess is not an outsider. But on the contrary, Helena drove Randall away. You should still go. What if that is good news for you? He was very grateful without knowing her intentions. I am really touched to see Your Highness the Princess care about my interests so much. She frowned and thought. What's so touching? I just know that the more I hear, the more dangerous it is. I don't want to joke with my life. She pretended to be innocent and acted, Your Holiness the Pope, please trust me. She recounted, I originally intended to offer the gunpowder to you first, but was discovered by the Crown Prince, but Randall didn't realize it and even smiled, so that's it. She acted pitifully. I still have to be by His Highness the Crown Prince's side to monitor the royal family's movements, causing discord between the brothers. I can't help but consider the overall situation. He still agreed with her. What you said makes sense. She still continued to act innocent, so Your Holiness the Pope won't blame me, right? Randall still asked gently, rest assured, I won't stop your plan. You want to have the title of Count, right? That slut turned on the crying mode again. I have a humble background. In the royal palace I have no dignity or freedom. If I have the title, it will be easier to serve you. He put his hand on her shoulder and said, I look forward to your performance tonight. She only blushed and was moved by that small action. She shyly asked, when I have the title and am no longer a lowly servant, can I be friends with His Holiness the Pope? He coldly only looked forward to the benefits from her. That depends on your performance. She promised Randall. The king and the crown prince only received a sample, but you will get the formula for making gunpowder. After the party ends, I will offer the formula to you. He advised her with petty schemes, then wait until the party is over to talk about it. I still have to go socialize. You should also go and make friends with other nobles. It will be beneficial to you in the future. This slut is still fantasizing. Is he thinking of me? I know he will gradually like me. He was originally my man. Helena, holding a glass of wine, glanced at the two of them. Humph. She looked at this man with disdain and thought, before, Lando didn't take her seriously, but now she brought gunpowder. His attitude is completely different. This man can never be moved by any woman, he only loves himself and power. All the nobles are focusing their eyes on one side. Davin palely knelt down to salute. Greetings, Your Highness the Princess. She asked with concern, Davin, you have returned. How is the flood in the south? He anxiously reported, Your Highness the Princess, we have found an effective method to control the flood, and there is also a new discovery that needs to be reported. She looked at him in surprise and wondered, what? Helena asked seriously, what new discovery is there, can you tell me? He recounted the whole thing. Your Highness the Princess, when the flood occurred, I led people to the mountains to pick fruit to divert the water flow. After the water receded, I accidentally discovered a huge gold mine deep in the mountains. Davin was confident, I'm sure it's a gold mine. Helena interrogated, you have discovered the gold mine, you can completely occupy it, why did you come back to report to me? But he didn't do so because he was always grateful to her. My life was saved by you. I will always put your interests first. Stand up, I understand your heart. Tonight I will ask my father to appoint you as my personal knight. She thought to herself, at present, her father has not yet asked her to hand over the command of the Rose Knight, probably thinking that a princess like her is not capable enough to support this elite knight. After all, raising an army is very expensive, but if there is this gold mine, the problem will be solved. Helena seriously instructed, this matter must be kept secret from anyone, you must not let a third person besides me and you know. Davin received the order, yes, your highness the princess. She gently put her hand on his shoulder and said, now. She needs him, I need you to help me with another matter. Even with just a small action, it was enough to make Davin blush all over. Helena lightly supported him to stand up and whispered, he didn't hear anything but only thought in his head, your highness the princess supported me again, she never despises a low-ranking person. Like me, moreover, she smells so good. She trusted him very much, I have told you the weakness of gunpowder, the rest is up to you, he shyly replied, your highness the princess, rest assured, I will definitely complete the task you assigned. Davin bowed respectfully and then withdrew. Helena determined to swear in her heart, even if someone really transmigrated from another world, so what, my destiny is in my own hands, I will personally send those who betray me to hell. A noble girl spoke, thanks to your mask, I have regained my vitality, my fiancé likes my current appearance very much, that slut Finey, who was praised, had the opportunity to be arrogant. Smart women know how to invest in themselves, men always pay attention to appearance, as long as you are both beautiful and have a good figure, you don't have to worry about not attracting them. Another noble girl also smiled and said, talking with you always makes me gain a lot, you are really different from all the women in the empire. She wondered when she saw the two of them walking together, Davin Payne, why is he here, why does he seem so familiar with that cannon fodder female supporting character? Finey refused to continue talking to the two young ladies and left, sorry, I have to go first. She reached out and called after him, Davin Payne. Davin turned back to look coldly, you, how do you know my name? She said confidently in front of him, I not only know your name, I also know that you will become my knight, right after tonight, she thought in her heart, it seems that today is a bountiful day. Not only will she get the title of count, but she will also easily get the personal knight in the original story. He turned his face to deny, that's impossible, I am already the personal knight of Princess Helena, I will never betray the princess in my life. Finey panicked, what, how can you be her knight? Helena came from nowhere and stood behind Davin and spoke, he is my personal knight, are you very surprised? She gritted her teeth and remembered, how could it be like this? In the original story it was clear that I became a count, persuaded the king to open the city gate to welcome the victims. And then saved Davin Payne who was seriously ill, making him my most loyal knight from then on. She couldn't believe what was happening, why is everything so different now? She looked at her very confidently and thought, you arrogant transmigrated girl, everything now is just an appetizer, I will make you wish you were dead sooner or later. Raymond was causing trouble in the corner next to the castle, you bastard. He was insulting Cape, you are as disgusting as your lowly mother. Raymond waved his hand and pushed him hard to the ground. The nobles present were constantly talking, look, the prince of the kingdom of Lorraine is so pitiful, what can a person who was abandoned by his own father as a hostage do? They again tolerated Raymond and only criticized Cape, even his own brother despises him like this, his mother must also be a humble person. He could only grit his teeth and endure all this humiliation and torture and couldn't refute it even though he was a prince. Helena was recalling the plot memories, Raymond Duc Tap Boi, the most favored second prince of the kingdom of Lorraine, Honest's enemy, who had often bullied Honest's mother and son since he was a child. She remembered what she had done in her previous life. In her previous life she and Honest returned to the kingdom of Lorraine and gradually took back the throne from his hands. It will be the same in this life, and Neo too must defeat him for everything to change. Cape's pitiful and huddled appearance had affected her, it's time for me to appear to soothe this wounded heart. Helena pretended to step forward and asked, it's too noisy, what happened here? At this time the fierce name just now turned his face like flipping a pancake, your highness the princess, long time no see, do you still remember me? She showed a radiant smile to him, you are his highness Le Mong Duc. Raymond was trying to please her, it has been many years since we met, yet your highness the princess still remembers my name, I am so honored, can I invite your highness the princess to dance? She spoke badly of him in her head, you are so shameless. A man came forward and spoke to refuse for Helena, no. He panicked when he saw Randall, your holiness the Pope. He tactfully dismissed the lustful man, I have something to discuss with her highness the princess. Please leave, sir. Not daring to argue, the man obeyed. All right, I'll leave immediately. Helena wondered, does His Holiness the Pope have something he needs from me? He shamelessly replied, "No, it's just that I don't like you smiling at him." Her expression shifted to one of disgust. "Your Holiness, if you're too idle, please pay more attention to your handmaid. Tonight is her transformation night." Cape, now realizing what was happening, wanted to chase after her. "Wait, Helena." Randall reached out to stop him, looking down on him. "You can't even protect yourself. What right do you have to stand by her side?" Only now did he understand. He was right. If I can't even control my own fate, how can I protect her? To stand shoulder to shoulder with her, to shield her from the rain and wind. I must climb to the highest position, to seize ultimate power. The nobles were happily bowing to the king. "Greetings, son of the empire." The person standing beside him announced, "Before the charity auction begins, a special guest will present her new invention, gunpowder. Please welcome Finey." Finey, holding a box in her hands, walked step by step to present it to the king. She knelt down and reported, "Your Majesty, these are fireworks I created especially for you based on the principle of gunpowder. I hope you will like them." Inside are rows of deadly firecrackers. A man standing nearby asked, "Your Majesty, what is gunpowder?" "I've never heard of it." The young man next to him quickly added, "The Empire is indeed attracting many talents." The king, eager to see it, immediately ordered, "Handmaid Finey, I order you to quickly demonstrate your gunpowder." She confidently replied, "Yes, Your Majesty." When the fireworks bloom brightly in the night sky, they will surely be amazed. The title of Count will definitely be in my grasp. Finey placed a firecracker on the castle wall and lit a match to ignite it. Helena was also looking forward to it. Success or failure depends on this. The woman was still very complacent about herself. This is the moment. Let's light up the dark night sky of the Empire, so everyone can see me. She even put on a kind face to remind the nobles there. Next, everyone, don't be afraid. When the fireworks explode, there will be a loud bang, but it's very safe. It's the gunpowder explosion creating the effect. Raymond also praised and flattered her profusely. Your Majesty, the Empire is strong. Even a handmaid has immeasurable talent. It is truly our blessing thanks to your protection. Payne was praising Finey's work. Father, the gunpowder that Finey researched can not only be used for viewing, but can also be made into weapons to protect the country. He also asked for help. After the performance ends, please grant her the title of Count so that she can serve the Empire with her talent. Victor also spoke up, if that's really the case, such talent deserves to be ennobled. Hearing his father say that, he was very happy. Thank you, Father. The nobles gathered around expectantly, focusing their attention. But they were disappointed when they saw the box only emitting smoke. She panicked and sweated profusely. Why is this happening? In Helena's heart, she was very satisfied. The top knight of the Empire indeed did not disappoint me. The ladies began to gossip. What ability does a lowly handmaid have? His Majesty should not have given her the opportunity to embarrass herself like this. She even told us not to be afraid. Who would be afraid of this smoking barrel? In front of the envoys of other countries, His Majesty has truly lost face this time. The king angrily shouted, Handmaid Finey, is this your gunpowder? That's it? The prince beside him also began to get anxious. Finey, didn't you say the fireworks would fly into the sky and explode? Finey didn't know what to do and had to prevaricate. I don't know. This is just an accident. Someone spoke up and stepped forward. Your failure is not accidental. Helena proudly stepped forward to provoke her. But it is the inevitable result. She angrily shouted at her, Your Highness, Princess, are you behind this? But she didn't pay attention. Father, although gunpowder has explosive power, because it is a weapon that needs to be prepared in advance, it is not only affected by the weather, but also easily destroyed by people. This is not a good weapon. Helena said in a barbaric tone, the situation on the battlefield changes in an instant. Even a small mistake can affect the lives of the entire army, or even the survival of the nation. One of the nobles spoke up, that's right, that's right. Raymond, who had been praising her just now, also turned his face. Her Highness the Princess is still wise. Randall looked at her adoringly. Worthy of being the woman I chose. In this situation, she only needed a few words to easily dissolve the handmaid's achievements after days of preparation. How did she do it? King Victor angrily ordered, guards, take this handmaid away to be punished. Finey cried and begged, "Your Majesty, please spare me." Payne begged for her. "Father, I have personally seen the power of gunpowder. This time is really just an accident. Please give Finey another chance." Helena stood up strongly to criticize this damned younger brother, ungrateful. "Just because of your private affair with this handmaid, you ignore the safety of the empire and the dignity of your father?" He shamelessly blamed her in return. "Sister, why are you always targeting Finey?" She used sharp words to prove to him. "This handmaid, because of her desire for wealth and glory, brought this dangerous thing with only an appearance to the emperor. And exaggerated its power too much, which means she put the safety of the empire in a dangerous situation. Why are you always on her side? Could it be that in your heart the safety of the empire is not as important as a woman?" Now he had no way to speak. I'm not like that." Helena coldly said to Payne, "You say you have seen the power of gunpowder with your own eyes is not credible. Unless a second person can prove its power, I will ask my father to spare her." Finey turned to beg Randall. "His Holiness the Pope, please save me. Prove to me that I am really not lying." The princess was looking forward to it. "This is the most crucial moment. I really want to see what you will choose." Pope Randall came forward and offered. "Your Majesty, I can prove it for the handmaid Finey." Finey was overjoyed to have someone help her. "Your Holiness, I know you are the most righteous person." Helena silently observed and secretly speculated. "As expected, I didn't misjudge him. His wolfish ambition and his fox tail are finally revealed. He expressed his views according to his reasoning. The power of gunpowder is indeed very great. Tonight, someone must have deliberately caused trouble for this problem to occur. I suggest that your Majesty investigate this matter thoroughly. It should not be easily let go." After experiencing many changes, she seemed to have unconsciously built a strong wall in her mind to guard against everything. Guarding against everything still did not guard against him and the time traveler uniting together. "From now on, I will never believe a word he says." Victor, hearing the Pope's opinion, became suspicious. Helena brought the handmaid to the crown prince. What was her intention? The Pope exceptionally pleaded for her. Could this handmaid be a spy he planted in the palace? Payne knelt down and reported to his father. "Father, His Holiness the Pope has testified for Finey. Please spare her this time." He approved of his wish. "If that's the case, then exempt the handmaid from punishment." Victor planned for rare occurrences. If she was a spy of the Pope, then all the better, to repay her kindness by making her the crown princess. She can become the person he planted next to the Pope. Finey heard the decree he issued and happily knelt down to express her respect. "Thank you, Your Majesty, for your generosity. Thank you, Your Highness the Crown Prince and His Holiness the Pope, for trusting me." She breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that she was safe. Today is truly a blessing in disguise. Lando will definitely protect me in front of everyone, proving that he truly regards me as one of his own. Helena pondered in silence. Indeed, a good show. I should see Lando's true face early on, draw a clear line with my white-eyed wolf younger brother. She turned around and walked away to another place. Helena went to the table and picked up a glass of wine. She was indignant but could not resolve it, so she turned to wine to relieve her sorrow. "Damn it, a bunch of bastards." Pope Randall came from behind, took away the glass of wine and asked with concern, "Drinking wine to relieve sorrow is harmful to the body." "Your Highness the Princess. How about drinking a glass with me?" Helena, half drunk and half sober, vented her anger on him. "Your Holiness, you are not welcome here. Please leave." Pope Randall knew that she was troubled in her heart and gently explained, "Your Highness the Princess, you have misunderstood me. Indeed, there are people who did not want Finey to succeed tonight. But that person is not you, but the envoys." Helena held her head as if wanting to be sober so as not to fall into sweet words of coaxing. "I don't want to listen. I don't believe a word you say." Seeing that she still did not completely believe him, he revealed the real conspiracy of the negotiations that had just taken place. The Kingdom of Lacrim and other countries are always watching the Empire. They came with the intention of making the Empire lose face. Helena frowned and asked, "So you want to say that you protected her in front of everyone for the sake of the overall situation?" Pope Randall replied, "Yes, but I did this not for the royal family but for the people of the kingdom." She expressed the innermost thoughts in her heart and questioned. Even if your principles are true, I don't want to listen. Impolite, he said gently. Then what should I do for you to forgive me? Helena brushed it off. I will not forgive you. From now on, no matter what you say or do, I don't believe a word. Suddenly, Pope Randall gave her an unexpected kiss, making her startled and shy. Helena blushed and reminded, Your Holiness the Pope, in front of so many people, please have some self-respect. He gently stroked his lips and said, Your Highness the Princess, this is just an accident. She heard this and turned to leave, but Pope Randall stopped her. Wait. He placed a small piece of paper with a few lines of words on Helena's hand. Your Highness the Princess, please accept this. Pope Randall revealed, This is the gunpowder formula that Finey offered me. He wanted to resolve the unnecessary misunderstanding in order to help her feel at ease in her heart. Your Highness the Princess, I just stood up to protect her in front of everyone in order to get this. I think she will like it. Helena asked suspiciously, Your Holiness the Pope, are you sure this formula is real? If it is fake, when I conduct the experiment, it may cause heavy casualties. Feeling that his sincere heart was not reciprocated, Pope Randall snatched the paper away and said in annoyance, Your Highness the Princess, do you suspect that I want to harm you? If that's the case, I definitely cannot let you be involved. It's better to let me keep this formula. She leaned over so that she could touch the piece of paper. Wait. Unexpectedly, Helena didn't react in time and fell towards his arms, and Pope Randall grabbed her wrist tightly. The air was filled with the ambiguity of the couple as if it was illuminated brightly. She said softly, in front of so many people, Please let me go first. In her heart, Helena calculated that she wanted to test his loyalty. Regardless of whether this formula is real or fake, she must test it herself to know if he is telling the truth. Now is not the time to completely sever ties with him. He leaned closer and whispered enchantingly, Then can Your Highness the Princess forgive me? Her heart beat wildly as if it wanted to explode with this unexpected action. I forgive you. Pope Randall released his hand and handed the paper back to Helena and said gently as if pouring honey into her ears, As long as Your Highness the Princess is happy. Whatever you want me to do, I am willing to serve you. She took it and tried to awaken her wavering reason. You are acting so deeply, but don't expect to deceive me. I will definitely not easily fall into his sweet trap. After receiving what she needed, Helena turned slightly and walked away. Your Holiness the Pope, I suddenly remembered that I have something to do. Please excuse me. She was eager to check. The formula is in my hand. I must quickly experiment to verify its authenticity. He announced to Helena, Your Highness the Princess, Anis's brother will visit me at the Holy Temple tomorrow. Pope Randall wanted to ask for her opinion. He probably wants to get the support of the Holy Temple to win the throne. What do you say? Should I support him? Helena replied frankly, Of course not. He is not a wise ruler. He does not have the talent to be king. He put forward a different point of view, making her somewhat embarrassed. Then, according to Your Highness the Princess, who is worthy of inheriting the throne of the Grand Duchy? Pope Randall was silent and suspicious. Is it Anais? At the same time, outside the palace grounds, Finey secretly met Caponis to talk. Why did you call me to this remote place? He offered praise and apologized for his mistakes. Just now at the banquet, your gunpowder impressed me very much. I believe you were framed by others. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you before. She was overjoyed and her heart jumped with joy. You really believe me? Are you willing to stand on my side? Finey always had an obsession with jealousy of Helena. Finally, I have the opportunity to snatch Helena's destined pair. Helena losing this loyal dog will definitely suffer heavy losses. Sooner or later, I will make her kneel at my feet. Caponis promised her, From now on, whatever you want, I will help you achieve it. Finey smiled slyly and replied, Very good, as an ally, I will also help you achieve everything you desire. He was also in the same camp as her, only wanting to take the opportunity to overthrow others and steal what did not belong to him, even if he was not worthy of having it. Killing the old self is the only way to be reborn. I must become strong enough, I must make all those who have trampled on me go to hell, I must snatch her back from the Pope. At this time, Helena was walking around when she was informed by a priest of Pope Randall, Your Highness, the Pope is currently bathing and changing. Please wait for him in his bedroom. Bedroom? He conveyed his instructions. Your Highness, this is it. Please come in. This is the Pope's will. Helena smiled and replied, Okay, thank you for your hard work, priest. She considered the plan she had prepared. Randall agreed to let me meet Anis's brother. Later, I must stop it. I must not let Randall become a supporter of any prince other than Anis. Helena was overwhelmed by the extravagance of the room. So luxurious, I'm afraid even my father's bedroom can't compare. The temple is so rich, Randall must have secretly embezzled a lot of money from the believers. But suddenly something shocked her. Wait, that is. The photo looked quite like a wedding photo when Helena wore a white dress adorned with elaborate beads, and her head was decorated with a crown and beautiful hairpins. Pope Randall held her hand and gave her a loving look. Helena recognized the familiar object placed on the table. This is the small bunny plush toy that I had to hug to sleep every night when I was 5 years old. Then it disappeared without a trace, making me very sad for a long time. She went to the table and picked up an object. This is the first hairpin since my hair grew long when I was a child. Helena suspiciously wondered, because I grew up and couldn't use it anymore, I put it away. Why is it here? All the items that she had used appeared in the same place, further increasing the suspicion in Helena's heart. Even this old coin, I clearly threw them away. Why are they all here, in Randall's room? She thought about the problem and speculated, could it be that he has been following me since I was a child? Is he a pervert? From behind, Pope Randall suddenly appeared and spoke, startling Helena, Your Highness, what are you looking at? She turned around and questioned, Why did you come without making a sound? But immediately afterwards, Helena shyly covered her face because he was revealing his muscular and toned body. You. Pope Randall offered to ask, Is your Highness dissatisfied with me? He came closer and whispered in her ear, Or is the princess not satisfied with my figure? Helena blushed and asked, Why aren't you wearing clothes? Pope Randall replied, Since I was a child, I have been served by priests. I have never dressed myself, so I don't have. She felt that he was making excuses and said, You are so old and you don't know how to put on clothes. If there is no priest, are you going to wander around naked? Pope Randall teased her, making Helena jump. When we get married, changing clothes is one of the tasks of the lady. Would you like to familiarize yourself with the process first? She raised her hand and retorted with a red face, I don't want to. Who wants to familiarize myself? He wanted to tease her to make Helena laugh more, but you are still staring so intently. She looked down and observed all over, and sighed in her heart, I can't deny that his figure is really good. Helena looked at the priest dressing Pope Randall and couldn't help but suspect, he must be doing it on purpose. He likes to see me flustered. She went straight to the main issue and interrogated, I ask you, why are there so many of my childhood items in here? You deliberately put them out for me to see, right? He calmly replied, You only guessed half of it right. I deliberately put them out for you to see, but they are not spoils, but my collection. Helena was stunned by the answer. What? Pope Randall expressed his sincere heart. They are proof of my love for the princess. Since I was a child, I have secretly loved you. She smiled faintly, You really know how to joke. Helena had a different thought. This guy is just finding an excuse to cover up his observation of me and his desire for royal power. I don't believe his words. He smiled gently and said, The princess doesn't believe me, it seems I have to prove it to the princess. She questioned, How are you going to prove it? I want to see what tricks he can pull. Pope Randall offered, Give me your hand. He placed an item on her hand and explained, This is the medal that the future high priestess will have. With it, you can freely enter and exit my temple in the future. Helena observed carefully and thought, freely entering and exiting his temple means I can freely enter and exit the temple. She felt quite like this item. Is this guy so generous? He wouldn't want to play any tricks with me, would he? Pope Randall asked, What, don't you believe me? He leaned closer, wanting more intimate contact with Helena. If your Highness the princess doesn't need it, then return it to me. She shouted, Who said I don't need it? I need it. It would be a waste not to need it, who knows, this thing might help me with something big in the future. Pope Randall said, I have given the relic of the High Priestess to your Highness the Princess. Doesn't your Highness have a token to exchange with me? Helena made her point clear. Don't you have a lot of things? Relying on these few things, I will also allow you to freely enter and exit my temple, okay? He laughed with interest. If your highness the princess invites me, I will definitely be with the princess in the temple in the future. She showed a slight look of annoyance. These words are easy to misunderstand. I don't mean that. The priest came to announce, Prince Cabot of the Kingdom of Lacram is seeking an audience. Pope Randall kept saying ambiguous words, then the future high priestess will go with me to receive the guests. The two came to the meeting place together. Greetings, Your Holiness the Pope. He said, stand up. Helena observed every gesture and word of Pope Randall. This guy clearly knows what I mean, yet he takes the initiative to give me the opportunity to play tricks from within. What is his plan after all? He asked. I heard that the king of the Kingdom of Lacram is seriously ill. Is he better now? Raymond replied, thank you for your concern, Your Holiness. He smiled brightly and presented, my father is still in critical condition. He also often asks about you, teaching me to follow the God of Light and Your Holiness the Pope until death. Raymond glanced at her, and suspicion arose in his heart. Your Highness the Princess is a supporter of Anis. Since His Holiness the Pope has met me, why would he allow the princess to be here? Does he ultimately stand on my side or Anis's? He offered to present the gift that he had prepared, Your Holiness the Pope, this is a little gift. Please accept it. Helena looked at the item, a jade crown. Pope Randall felt satisfied and praised it repeatedly, very beautiful, I like it very much. She was annoyed with this gift. He dared to give the jade crown representing the crown to Lando, and this bastard Lando even accepted it. This is openly provoking the royal family. Too disrespectful to me. He observed Helena's expression and asked with concern, does Your Highness the Princess not like this crown? Pope Randall picked up the crown and put it on her, and exclaimed, it suits the princess very well, so I will give it to Your Highness. Helena was surprised, what, give it to me? Raymond stood still, slightly annoyed. The crown that I spent so much effort making for His Holiness the Pope was given to the princess. Is this implying to me that the temple is also a supporter of Anis? He turned to him and said, in 3 days, it will be the national resistance activity of the temple. If you have nothing to do, participate with your younger brother. Time passed quickly until the day of the important event. Pope Randall stood high up and read the prayer, whether poor or rich, whether sick or healthy, that is the unconditional love that you give to the world. Where the light shines, the love of the gods will last forever. Everyone below shouted in unison, God of Light, God of Light. Nearby, Raymond instructed Caponis, I warn you, behave yourself when you're out there. Even if the Pope invites you, it's only out of respect for me. Stop dreaming about things that don't belong to you, or I won't forgive you. He frowned, did you hear me clearly, you lowly, contemptible wretch? He obediently replied, yes, sir. Helena, witnessing this from afar, couldn't help but be suspicious. Anais can actually smile at Raymond? What's going on? In just one night, the two brothers made up. Last time I offered him an alliance, he didn't respond. Could it be that he really doesn't care about the throne? She recalled, impossible. In my previous life, he was ambitious and absolutely unwilling to be inferior to others. Could there be something fishy about this? Caponis acted obedient to Raymond. From now on, I'm willing to dedicate myself to you. He sneered, the bastard child of a lowly slave is nothing more than this. It's not too late to realize who your master is. Helena sighed. It seems I had too high expectations of him. Finey, with a wicked heart, contemplated the perfect plan. The cannon fodder male supporting character is being suppressed by his brother. This is a good opportunity for me to take action and win his loyalty. She came over and greeted cheerfully, Your Highness Anais, you did very well just now. Caponis warned, why are you here? I told you, stay away from me in places where Helena is. Can't you understand? Finey expressed her thoughts. I'm just worried that Raymond will humiliate you. The power between you and him is too disparate. If you openly clash, it will only be disadvantageous to you. After all, the princess who always protected you before, no longer cares about you now. She whispered, I saw it all. She just stood and watched you being bullied by Raymond, not even paying any attention. Finey offered to plot a plan for him. If Raymond doesn't care about brotherly love, why don't you teach him a lesson? Caponis asked suspiciously, what's your plan? Her appearance only increased Helena's suspicion of him. It's strange. Anais is actually involved with that transmigrated girl. She is full of schemes, and it is difficult to guarantee. Pope Randall came over and asked, Your Highness the Princess, have you seen enough? He took her hand and pulled her away. If you've seen enough, come with me to a place. Helena was surprised. Wait. She protested angrily, don't you need to inform me? Where do you want to take me, after all? Pope Randall replied, Your Highness the Princess, we're here. He brought Helena to a garden filled with countless flowers of all colors. Do you like it? This is a gift I specially prepared for you. Pope Randall gently put a wreath on her head and congratulated, Your Highness the Princess, happy birthday. Helena was slightly touched by this unexpected gift. You know today is my birthday? She thought to herself, because my birthday coincides with the grand festival of the temple, compared to the festival, a small birthday is really not worth mentioning. Therefore, gradually, everyone forgot. I have hated this holiday since I was a child, because it stole my birthday, but unexpectedly, Lando remembers. He explained, this flower only blooms every year during the festival, it is the purest blessing from the sun god. Helena blushed shyly, so you have been preparing a gift for me since a year ago. How did you know I would attend the festival this year? Pope Randall was like an infatuated prince, his heart always directed towards her, the image of the small but proud Princess Helena. Not this year, but every year. I have always been waiting for you. She thought to herself, he is always waiting for me. Randall happily spoke, his close attendant carefully approached, holding a beautiful bunch of flowers. Today is my lucky day because I finally waited for you. He took the bouquet and brought it to Helena. She stared at the bouquet, her heart filled with many thoughts. This is the first birthday flower I have ever received. Although he is my enemy and opponent, he gave me an unforgettable birthday. She looked at him and smiled gently, Your Holiness the Pope, thank you for your gift, I like it very much. He gently raised her small face. He said softly, Your Highness the Princess, I have missed your previous birthdays, but from now on, I will be by your side for every birthday after the princess. Hearing these sweet and emotional words, Helena's heart fluctuated slightly, but she hurriedly reminded herself, Stop, can't be addicted, I can't be bewitched by his fake words. Immediately afterwards, her attitude was completely different. She turned around and pretended to be annoyed, speaking, Your Holiness the Pope, you really make people like you. Seeing her somewhat different attitude, Randall asked suspiciously, Do you think so? He grabbed her small hand and pulled her close to him, causing Helena to be startled by his action. Your Highness the Princess, how do I have to prove to you that I just want to make you happy? She continued, Your Holiness the Pope, please let go, otherwise people will see. Ignoring Helena's refusal, he slowly placed a deep kiss on the back of her hand. He continued, If you don't remember, I don't mind reminding you like this every time. Helena still tried to convince herself that she couldn't believe in Randall's words and actions. No, I absolutely can't believe it. Absolutely can't fall into the gentle trap of any man. Images appeared in her head. Randall and Finey are supported and cheered by the people of the Empire. Those images seemed to be deeply imprinted in Helena's mind, making it impossible for her to believe immediately in the sweet words and actions that Randall was giving her at this moment. She pushed the bouquet back to Randall and gently refused, Thank you for all the preparations, Your Holiness the Pope, but I should go. Finishing her words, she turned and left without any regret. Randall still stood there, watching her every step away. Helena's heart was now filled with thoughts. But I absolutely will not be shaken by his fake feelings. I must remember my mission and goal, to ascend the throne as queen. She was buried in her own thoughts when she saw the image of Payne approaching her. He said loudly, Sister, these past few days I came to find you but was stopped outside by your servants. Are you deliberately distancing yourself from me? She crossed her arms, stood at a distance and spoke coldly, What do you want from me? He came closer and spoke, Sister, just because you hate Finey, do you not want this younger brother anymore? She asked back, I see that handmaid has been close to the envoys recently. Did you tell her to do that? Hearing the sudden question from his sister, Payne's face darkened and he thought, even she saw it. Finey has been secretly going to meet other men, and she is no longer like the way she needed me before. But he still firmly believed in the white moonlight in his heart. He did not hesitate to defend her, That's right, Finey associates with the envoys for my sake. I have always said that she thinks of me, but you don't want to understand her. Helena was too helpless with this younger brother. She replied, Then how much do you think you understand her? He turned his face away and dared not face her. but still stubbornly replied, I understand everything about her. We are frank, trust each other, and there are no secrets. She laughed coldly and continued to speak, is that so? It seems that you already know that she offered the gunpowder formula to the Pope. Hearing her words, he was startled and asked back. What did you say? Helena leaned close to Payne's ear and repeated what she had just said. I said the person you trust most has offered the gunpowder formula to the Pope. Payne stuttered, but still firmly denied it. Impossible, you must be lying to me. She continued, whether I am lying to you or not, you can go ask her and you will know. Finishing her words, Payne ran quickly to find Finey. As he walked he announced loudly to Helena, I'll go find her and ask clearly. Seeing this, Helena secretly felt complacent. She thought, next, I want to see how you two bite each other. Around them, people were still coming and going, laughing and talking happily with each other. From behind, Prince Raymond approached, Your Highness the Princess, please wait a moment. Hearing someone call from behind, she turned around and replied, Your Highness Raymond, is there something wrong? He came over and shyly asked with concern, Just now I saw the princess and His Highness. The Crown Prince did not seem very happy. Are you okay? She smiled and replied, You are mistaken, we are very harmonious. Although the words were said like that, she had completely different thoughts in her heart. Humph, the one who is not happy is Payne, not me. Seeing him being turned into a tool by the transmigrated girl, I find it quite interesting. A priest spoke up and interrupted the lively atmosphere of everyone's conversation. Next, the believers will offer a dance to the gods. Around them, couples had begun to dance to the melodious music. Raymond politely spoke, Your Highness the Princess, do I have the honor of inviting you to dance? She happily replied, Of course. He took her hand and prepared for their dance. Helena accepted Raymond's invitation not only because of politeness, but she also had another intention. Her heart couldn't help but be happy to find a good opportunity. Just right, I can take this opportunity to probe his intentions. I wonder how the health of Honest's mother is now. The two began to blend into the melody and the common atmosphere of everyone. Raymond spoke first, being able to dance with Your Highness the Princess, I have no regrets. Going straight to the main story, Helena asked him directly, If I remember correctly, this is the first time after adulthood that you have taken on the role of envoy to visit the Empire. Right? Hearing her question, he couldn't help but be surprised. Your Highness the Princess understands me so well, it really surprises me. She continued, You misunderstood, not only you, I know all the big and small things of the Kingdom of Lorraine. Raymond also continued her words, Your Highness the Princess has already understood everything, then I don't need to beat around the bush. I am here today to hope to receive your support. My father is old and is about to establish an heir to the kingdom, I must win that position. She directly probed, Your younger brother, Honest, has grown up in the Empire since he was a child. Speaking of relationships, of course I am closer to him, so why do you think I would give up on him? To support you? He frowned and continued, Based on my father's favor for me, on my power in the Kingdom of Lorraine, and more importantly, I know Your Highness the Princess is wise and intelligent. My mother is a queen, and Honest's mother is just a lowly mistress. You are not choosing me now, only because you don't understand me, but I have enough patience and sincerity to make you change your decision. After all, Honest is useless, and has no foundation in the Kingdom of Lorraine. Even if you want to help him, you are powerless. Raymond finished speaking, and at the same time, the music ended. Everyone also gradually dispersed and continued their unfinished work. She continued the story from before, I heard that Honest's mother is seriously ill. You also know that the Empire is not without affection. If he wants to attend his mother's funeral, I will ask my father to allow him to return to the kingdom, but if you don't want him to come back to compete for the throne with me, it is best to let that poor woman live in peace. Raymond took it for granted, he blushed shyly and asked back, Your Highness the Princess, are you thinking of me? He thought, It seems that I was wrong before, the balance of the gods really leans towards me. Observing everything about the conversation between Helena and Raymond, Finey spoke, And you still dare to say that Your Highness the Princess cares about you? She crossed her arms and continued to speak in order to divide the relationship between Honest and Helena. The princess has chosen to support Raymond. Clearly, the two of you are childhood sweethearts who grew up together since childhood. Anais firmly denied, Impossible, Helene is just dealing with him perfunctorily, I believe her, she will definitely not support Payne. She suggested to support me as king before. She will definitely not change her position so quickly, she must have other purposes. He quickly turned around and left, leaving Finey still standing there. She angrily shouted, Anais, even now you still don't realize the truth? She gritted her teeth in anger. Stupid man, sooner or later I will make you and that damn Helena become enemies. I will use your hands to drag her down to hell. At Randall's resting place, a voice suddenly rang out, Your Highness the Crown Prince, this is the resting place of His Holiness the Pope. You cannot enter without an invitation. Payne was angry, Get out of here, dare you stop me? Seeing his uncooperative attitude, Randall's two attendants couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed, but they still followed the rules and prevented Payne from entering. Your Highness the Crown Prince, this is the Holy Temple, not the Royal Palace, please follow the rules. Randall came from somewhere, he spoke, it really is a distinguished guest. The two guards saw him approaching and couldn't help but be afraid and sweating profusely. Stuttering and explaining, Your Holiness the Pope, we have stopped him. He waved his hand and ordered, Everyone get out. Seeing that Randall did not blame them, the two quickly bowed and obeyed the order, yes. Randall approached Payne, he spoke and asked, What do you want from me, Your Highness the Crown Prince? Payne was angry, he frowned and questioned, Your Holiness the Pope, I don't care what method you used to get the gunpowder formula from Finey, but please hand it back to me. That is property that belongs to the royal family. I thought you would know about this a few days late. Randall continued, It seems that Helena is still biased towards you. Payne continued, She may have been on my side before, but since she made a covenant with you, she has not been the same person she was before. Randall showed his displeasure, he stood with his arms crossed, frowned and spoke, I have always heard others say that Your Highness the Crown Prince is ungrateful. Now it seems that the rumors are indeed true. Payne's face turned black with anger, Your Holiness the Pope, don't think that you can scold others at will just because you are the Pope. Randall continued, Am I wrong? A lowly handmaid, you have repeatedly made Your Highness the Princess, who is wholeheartedly for you, feel disappointed. Hitting the sore spot, Payne guiltily glanced elsewhere, stuttering and defending, That's just a misunderstanding, it's that older sister doesn't understand Finey. Randall stepped past Payne, Even now you still don't have any regrets? Obstinately unwilling to change, I really feel sorry for Your Highness the Princess. Glancing at his back as he left, Payne quickly called out, Wait, don't change the subject. Today, no matter what, I must get back the gunpowder formula. He waved his hand and answered indifferently, I have already allowed that handmaid to give the royal family a copy of the gunpowder formula. Hearing the answer that was not what he wanted, Payne gritted his teeth, he thought, What does he mean by this? Finey must have his permission for everything she does? At this time in Helena's palace, she was enjoying her dessert, my favorite dessert. She blushed and held the fork, ready to taste her favorite dessert, I'm eating. Bringing the cake to her mouth to taste, she couldn't help but exclaim, So sweet. Suddenly Helena's maid spoke, Princess. The maid reported, Just now news came out of the Crown Prince's palace, that handmaid had a quarrel with His Highness the Crown Prince, and was punished to work at the royal horse farm. She asked back in surprise, Is the news accurate? Confirmed to be at the royal horse farm? The maid answered with a confident look, Definitely. She brought the cake to her mouth and continued to taste it, but couldn't help but have some thoughts, that place is dirty and hard, the transmigrated girl must be so angry. Once trust collapses, it is difficult to rebuild as it was at the beginning. Even if this time I can't make them completely sever ties, at least I can sow a seed of doubt between them. She ordered, All right, step back. The maid was still unwilling to leave, she continued to announce another piece of news, Your Highness the Princess, there is one more thing. His Holiness the Pope is outside waiting to meet you. She was angry, Why did you let him in? Didn't I say that if he comes these days, just say I'm not here? The maid was scared, her eyes were closed, she kept denying. I said that, but His Holiness the Pope refused to listen. She reached out to fork a piece of cake and continued, Then go out and tell him that I'm not feeling well, I'm not receiving guests today. Randall came in, Where is Her Highness the Princess not feeling well? He put his hand on his chest to show his sincerity, I know a little bit of medicine, do you need me to personally diagnose you? Startled by his appearance, she angrily shouted, How did you get in here? In her heart, she muttered, Mom, how much did he hear? Randall came to her and replied, We made an agreement last time, that we can freely enter and exit each other's palace. Her face darkened, Damn it, how could I forget about this? Immediately after, she regained her composure and asked, What did your holiness the Pope come to me for? Randall leaned closer to her. He replied, don't rush, the princess's health is more important, or let me check your health first. She hurriedly refused, no need, I'm feeling better already. He replied brightly, I will go to the royal horse track to choose a horse as a farewell gift for the second Prince Raymond. If your highness the princess has no health problems, I would like to invite you to come along. Helena thought, it seems that he has chosen to stand on Raymond's side, but if he has chosen to stand on the opposite side of me, why doesn't he hesitate to let me know? After that, she was stunned to realize, wait, the horse track, isn't Finey there? He's not taking the excuse of choosing a horse as a farewell gift, but in fact he's here to pardon that handmaid. Is he? She slowly stood up, with the same calm demeanor, she replied, all right, I accept your invitation. Her eyes flashed sharply, I absolutely can't let him ruin my plan. The two of them began to tighten up. Helena, worthy of being the royal farm, the scenery is still so beautiful. It can't even compare to the back garden of the temple, His Holiness the Pope is too modest. Seeing a foreign object under her feet, he panicked and said, careful, your highness the princess. But before he could finish speaking, she had accidentally stepped on a pile of sticky and greasy waste, poop. The maid hurriedly ran over, please forgive me, your highness the princess, please forgive me, your holiness, there was a wild horse that rushed out of the stable just now. We didn't have time to clean it up. She spoke, stand up and go, immediately clean this place and bring me a new pair of shoes. The maid replied fearfully, yes, I heard that her highness the princess is hot-tempered, and kills people with a slight movement, and this is all? She screamed in horror, oh my gosh, how terrible. She carefully held her skirt and lifted her feet, this action made her stagger and not stand firmly. He gently hugged her in his arms, be careful. Randall continued, are you okay? She embarrassedly replied, thank you, your holiness. He spoke, is your highness the princess going to wear these smelly shoes until the maid comes? She was confused, stammering, otherwise, what? Walk barefoot, that would be very impolite. He smiled and replied, I have a better way. Immediately afterwards, he picked her up in his arms in a princess carry. This unexpected intimate action made her startled. Ah, what are you doing? He smiled gently and replied, this place is very dirty, it will be faster for me to carry your highness the princess to change shoes. She blushed and spoke, I'm heavy, don't bother yourself. He laughed and tilted his head closer to Helena, haha, don't move, otherwise we'll both fall into the pile of horse manure. Helena was now blushing, she turned her head to the other side and pretended to avoid him. She thought, a transmigrated female lead who is punished to the horse stable, wouldn't that mean that she will be living with horse manure every day? At this time, the scene of Finey crying when she was assigned the task of cleaning up the pile of manure just now appeared in her mind. I'm really looking forward to that scene. Finey and Raymond also came over, they respectfully saluted, greetings, your holiness the Pope, your highness the princess. Seeing the scene of Randall carrying Helena in his arms, Finey couldn't help but feel jealous, this slut is starting to seduce my male lead again. Today I must let Lando see who is the best person. Helena's maid finally brought her shoes, your highness the princess, your shoes are here. He gently put her down on the ground, stand firm. Randall turned to the servant, give me the shoes. Seeing this, the maid couldn't help but be startled, huh? Randall knelt on one knee, please, your highness the princess, you can change your shoes. Seeing this unexpected action of his, Helena thought, he actually humbled himself to change my shoes himself, Lando, I really can't understand him more and more. She spoke and asked, why is his highness Raymond with this handmaid? Raymond took the horse and came forward, he replied, doesn't your highness the princess know? Just now a wild horse that had not been tamed rushed out of the stable. Luckily this new handmaid subdued it, so it didn't cause any casualties. Helena asked back, you also know how to tame horses? Raymond gently caressed the horse that was walking beside him, he replied, this skill will definitely help the Empire's army a lot in the future. Finey also spoke at this time, being able to contribute to the Empire is Finey's honor. But in her heart, the thoughts were completely different, humph, these stupid natives. When I was in modern times, I was an actress, I learned so many skills to film. Taming horses is just one of them, sooner or later I will make you kneel at my feet. She spoke and asked, your highness the princess, I have tamed this horse, would you like to try it? She smiled slyly, her heart full of calculations, but it has not been completely tamed. Finey thought of the scene of the horse that she had only half tamed suddenly losing control, causing Helena, who was losing her balance, to fall off the saddle. I really want to see how noble she is when she is trampled under the hooves of a wild horse. The horse seemed to understand that Finey was using it to tarnish Helena's image, and it angrily snorted loudly. Helena guessed the intention behind her proposal. She frowned unhappily. This woman really forgets the pain once the scar heals. She dares to provoke me in front of everyone. Does she really think I can't see that this horse is not completely tamed? She still didn't want to stop. She raised her hand to her mouth, smiling slyly, and continued, as everyone knows, the late queen was the leader of the generals and fought wherever she went, winning every battle. I believe that Her Highness the Princess is the daughter of the queen and must be proficient in horsemanship. The princess wouldn't be afraid of losing face. Would she? Helena frowned angrily. You dare mention my mother again, it seems the pain from last time wasn't enough. Finey ignored Helena's warning. She turned to Randall and Raymond and said, Your Holiness the Pope, Your Highness Raymond, don't you want to see the dashing appearance of Her Highness the Princess? Randall turned to look at Helena with a loving gaze and said, It's true that it's been a long time since I've seen Her Highness the Princess ride a horse. Raymond patted the horse. He spoke to break the awkward atmosphere. In that case, I also want to see the demeanor of Her Highness the Princess. Helena was now furious. It seems these three want to join forces to harm me today. Do you think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my might? But on the surface, she still maintained her normal attitude. She spoke and agreed, Okay, if everyone values me so much, then I'll obey. However, it's not fun to ride alone. I think this handmaid's riding skills are very good, so let's have a match. Hearing Helena's proposal, she was startled. Huh? But immediately afterwards, she cheerfully replied, It is my honor, Your Highness the Princess. She thought, I am a transmigrator who understands all the characters. In the script, horsemanship is Helena the princess's weakness. Today, she will definitely lose face in front of the male lead. Randall thought, interesting. Insiders in the palace said that she has been diligently practicing horsemanship recently, in order to prepare to rule the Rose Army. It seems that someone will be embarrassed today. Raymond stood between the two girls. The atmosphere at this time made him feel suffocated. Raymond quickly spoke to ease the tension, Then let's have a friendly match. If Finey loses, I hope Your Highness the Princess won't punish her. Helena recalled, in the previous life, Raymond went to please the two after he knew the relationship between the transmigrator and the Pope. The throne that he tried so hard to get finally fell into Honest's hands. In the end, even when I was burned to ashes near death, Honest never appeared. The image of her with the terrible sea of fire made her afraid every time she remembered it. On the day I died, the temple raided the royal family, and the entire empire fell into chaos. She frowned unhappily, Those who want to kill me, I will definitely pay them back 100,000 times. Seeing her expression and actions, Randall asked again in surprise, What? She angrily ignored him and quickly turned away. Seeing her incomprehensible action, he couldn't help but wonder. Helena stood with her arms crossed. She spoke, What interesting thing should we compete in? Finey quickly agreed, Please advise, Your Highness the Princess. Helena continued, Let's compete in archery on horseback. Please, Your Highness Raymond, hold an apple 100 meters away from the circle. Whoever shoots through the apple on your head between this handmaid and I wins. Hearing this, Raymond couldn't help but be afraid. He trembled and tried to dissuade her, No, if I miss, won't my head be split in two? He sweated profusely, and stuttered, Your Highness the Princess, how can someone like me be the target for both of you? Or change the way to compete? She glanced at him and replied, If you think the target is not enough, then invite His Holiness the Pope to participate. In her heart, she thought, The three of you here are my enemies. It doesn't matter who I kill. Raymond stuttered and asked again, The Pope is also a target? Unlike Raymond's fear, Randall quickly and happily replied, Okay, I accept the invitation of Your Highness the Princess. He came to her and leaned closer. He continued, I am anemic and afraid of pain, so please have mercy on me later, Your Highness the Princess. She smiled coldly and thought, Let's calculate the new and old debts together. Finey called out loudly, Wait. She reached out to block Helena's path. She angrily questioned Helena, Your Highness the Princess, how can you let the Honorable His Holiness the Pope be a shield? She calmly replied, Then you mean, His Highness Raymond can be a shield, it doesn't matter if he dies? The first prince of the Kingdom of Lorraine stood on the side with an unhappy expression when he heard such words. Finey guiltily waved her hand to deny it. She glanced at Raymond and couldn't help but be afraid. I didn't mean that, it's very dangerous for anyone to be a shield. He ran to Randall, and fearfully gave a gentle proposal. That's right, Your Highness the Princess, it's too dangerous to be a shield, it's best to change another way. You're right, aren't you, Your Holiness? He thought, as long as the Pope opposes it, I won't have to play with my life with this crazy woman, otherwise I might go and never return. But Raymond never expected that the Pope could calmly agree without any fear. He said, I don't see any danger, because I believe in the archery skills of Her Highness the Princess. Moreover, the princess wants to play, how can I spoil her fun? Of course, I am willing to follow to the end. With Randall's approval, Helena happily said, the Pope trusts me so much, I will definitely try not to disappoint you. But in her heart, she was thinking, Lando actually let me run wild, I am a member of the royal family, is he not afraid that I will shoot an arrow and kill him? Hearing the calm words just now, Prince Raymond was scared out of his wits, he sweated profusely and thought, try not to disappoint, doesn't that mean there is still a possibility of disappointing? Oh great sun god, please protect me, I don't want to die young. Immediately afterwards, Randall and the Prince of the Kingdom of Lorraine stood in the position of the shield, each with an apple on their head. Randall was not afraid. And he even looked a little expectant and eager, but on the contrary, the one next to him was constantly afraid, he was trembling and couldn't stand firmly. Helena and Finey were now ready, they were each riding on a different war horse. Finey looked very confident, she said, Your Highness the Princess, if I win, you won't be too ashamed to become angry and use your power to force me to be punished, will you? Helena was not afraid, she responded with a stern voice, do you think you have a chance to win? Finey was still unwilling to give up, she continued, Your Highness the Princess, although you have a noble status, you are not omnipotent, I just want to help you save face. To avoid being bounced on the back of the horse. She thought, based on you, you dare to play psychological tactics with me, talk about it after you win me. The image of Helena riding on a war horse was both powerful and somewhere still gentle. Finey's face revealed a sly look, she frowned and was secretly pleased, she still doesn't know that this horse has not been completely tamed, I absolutely can't let you win. Just wait to fall off the horse and live or die. At this time, in her mind, she had thought of the scene of Helena losing face when she fell off the horse. Before the two girls could do anything, Prince Raymond was extremely scared, he screamed loudly. Seeing his somewhat excessive reaction, Randall frowned unhappily, stand still, don't affect the princess's competition. Hearing the blame from him, Raymond still couldn't help but tremble with fear. He thought, the princess and the Pope can live in peace, it is indeed not without reason, these two are both crazy. He stammered and asked, Your Holiness, are you not afraid? In contrast to him, he answered calmly, being a shield to witness the archery skills on horseback of the princess is my honor. Why should I be afraid? He cursed secretly, not only crazy but also perverted. Finey was trying to concentrate, she frowned and stretched the bow. The arrow flew towards Prince Raymond, seeing the arrows coming towards him, he was afraid and panicked, why are all the arrows aimed at me? He was shocked when he realized that they really didn't dare to touch the Pope, no wonder he could be so calm. With a whoosh, an arrow went past, grazing his right ear. He screamed in pain. Seeing her arrow go off course, Finey cried out in panic, Your Highness Raymond. It's my turn, finishing her words, Helena was in position, she pulled the bow tight, focusing on aiming. With a thud, the arrow shot through the apple on Raymond's head. The apple fell off the prince's head after being hit by the arrow, but at the same time Prince Raymond also fell down and fainted from fear. Helena happily announced, I hit it. Another arrow flew over, but this time the arrow was not aimed at the apple on Raymond's head, but the target of this arrow was the apple on Pope Randall's head. The arrow touched the apple, and he suddenly leaned to one side, so the arrow did not hit the apple. Finey didn't believe the truth before her eyes, she cried out in panic, why is that happening? Helena spoke in a tone full of sarcasm, it seems your archery skills are very bad. She hurriedly denied it, that's not it, it's obviously because His Holiness the Pope moved. She tilted her head and asked back, oh, so you want to blame yourself on His Holiness the Pope? Before Helena's questioning, she could only tremble in fear, stuttering and answering, I didn't. Helena sighed, she thought, it seems that Lando has no intention of letting his life be in danger, even if he dodged it, who would dare blame him? Randall happily explained, I stood there a little too long, my legs were sore. Don't blame me for the arrow just now, Your Highness. Finey spoke to reassure him. His Holiness the Pope, it's good that you are all right. If you are tired, then this competition should end here. She thought, it's still time to stop this cannon fodder woman. If I really let her show off, I will lose face and lose people. As she spoke, he put the apple back on his head. Why, Your Highness, the princess hasn't shot yet. Even if I'm more tired, it's fine, as long as the princess is happy. Helena's arrow was shot, but it seemed that the direction of the arrow was a bit unusual. Finey sweated profusely when she saw Helena's aiming direction. But this arrow of the princess is aimed at your heart. Helena spoke, Your Holiness the Pope, I'm not good at riding a horse and shooting arrows. If you're afraid, it's not too late to regret it now. She thought, anyway. With Lando's skill, he can definitely dodge it, it's so boring. Still with that look, Randall was not afraid at all. He confidently smiled and replied, Your Highness, the princess thinks too much. I see that the princess's horse seems to have a problem. It may affect your level. Do you need me to change another horse for you? She was startled when she heard his words just now. He actually saw that there was a problem with the horse. She thought, thank you for the Pope's concern, but please cooperate and stand still. This time I will really shoot. Because the horse has a problem, I can accidentally kill or injure this bastard. Then blame the transmigrated woman who trained it. One arrow hits 2 targets. If the Empire only loses these 2 troublemakers, then it can be peaceful forever. And I won't have to step on the same old path as the fate of my previous life again. Your Highness the Princess, stop. Finey shouted to stop her, but it was too late. Helena had released the arrow. She rode quickly to Randall. While urging the horse, she shouted loudly, Your Holiness, danger, quickly dodge. No matter how she shouted, he still stood still, ignoring the arrow that was rushing towards him. With a thud, she didn't expect that Helena's arrow could really hit the apple on Pope Randall's head. She was stunned and didn't believe the truth before her eyes. The apple. She thought, this woman is really lucky, clearly aiming at the heart, but fate accidentally hit the apple, damn it. Helena spoke with a triumphant voice, it seems I have won. Randall also happily praised, that's right, my Your Highness the Princess, you have won everything. She gritted her teeth uncomfortably, how annoying, I didn't attack him because I'm soft-hearted, or have fallen into his charm. In the previous life, Lando constantly used the transmigrated woman to constantly praise Payne, disrupting the order of the royal family. Was my death in the previous life related to him? I must investigate clearly. If he also participated, then I will definitely not be merciful when I kill him. Now I still need to marry him to consolidate my power, and borrow his hand to regain the throne. Lando, let you live a few more days. Randall came closer to her and applauded, Your Highness the Princess's archery skills just now really amazed me. In contrast to his happy attitude, she had an uncomfortable black face. Unfortunately, I still didn't shoot a hole in you, still not amazing enough. Suddenly, Helena's horse lost control, and seeing this, she panicked, it's broken. Seeing Helena's horse losing control as planned, Finey couldn't help but be secretly happy in her heart, this horse is finally crazy, quickly throw her down and kill her for me. Helena was horrified, she grabbed the reins tightly and tried to calm the horse down. Seeing this, Randall couldn't help but worry, he suggested, let go of the reins, I'll catch you. Helena angrily shouted, damn horse, I order you to stop immediately. The horse refused to listen, and even became more out of control. Randall stood on the side helplessly calling her name, Helena. Finey ran over from here, grabbed Randall's hand and pulled him back. She worriedly said loudly, Your Holiness the Pope, be careful of danger. In her heart, she thought, I will absolutely not let you go save that woman. Prince Raymond had now woken up, he scratched his head in puzzlement, what's going on? He hugged his head and trembled in fear when he saw everything in front of him. Why is Her Highness the Princess jumping up and down on the back of the horse? Finey gently explained, Your Highness Raymond, you're awake. Her Highness the Princess's horse has not been completely tamed, and now it's going crazy. He came to the two of them and asked worriedly. So what should we do now? In front of him, he showed that he was very concerned about the safety of Princess Helena, but in his heart, he happily celebrated, great, if she falls to her death, Honest will lose his support. At this time, Helena was still struggling, trying to help her horse calm down. Calm down, I have been practicing horsemanship non-stop during this time. What kind of wild horse have I never encountered? Moreover, this is just an ordinary horse. She raised the arrow and decided to choose another option. I'll count to 3. If you don't shut up, the fate waiting for you is only death. 3, 2, 1. As soon as she finished counting, The horse seemed to understand her threatening words just now. It really calmed down. It gave her a look of disbelief. Seeing that it was no longer out of control, at this time she really relieved her unease and worry. She sighed. She patted the horse lightly and thought, it seems you also know what's good for you. Whether it's people or animals, they only know how to bully the weak. Its eyes still did not leave her, and its whole body was still trembling with fear. She got off the horse, turned around and said to the horse, "You and I can be considered to have a fate, go report to the Rose Legion." Randall angrily walked quickly to her. He angrily questioned, "Princess, it was too dangerous just now, you should have jumped down, I said I would catch you." In contrast to Randall's worry, Finey and Raymond were grinding their teeth uncomfortably. They cursed secretly in their hearts, "Damn it." She politely said her thanks, "Thank you, Your Holiness the Pope, but it's just a small matter, I can handle it myself." Contrary to her coldness, he was very gentle and full of concern. He said, "Let me see if you are injured." As he spoke, his hand tightly grabbed her shoulder as if afraid that she would encounter danger again. Helena gently pushed his hand away from her body. She said, "No need, Your Holiness the Pope." She turned and left. As she walked, she continued, "Now I have something more important to do." Helena approached Finey. Seeing her approaching, Finey turned black with fear, stuttering, Your Highness the Princess, you said before that no matter whether you win or lose, you won't use your power to force others." Helena turned to look at the horse and replied, "I said what I did, but this horse was said to be tamed by you. Everyone can clearly see that it is not completely tamed. Its going crazy is your fault. What do you say? How should I punish you?" She fearfully pulled Prince Raymond into this matter. "Your Highness, Raymond can testify for me. I really tamed this horse. This matter has nothing to do with me. Your Highness the Princess is deliberately targeting me. I have nothing to say." Seeing her pull him into this matter, he opened his mouth in surprise. She angrily continued, "You really think I'm an idiot? But it's okay, I'm still keeping your life because there is something I need you to do, because it's your father's birthday and the anniversary of the temple." Finey replied, "Your Highness the Princess, rest assured, His Highness the Crown Prince has made careful preparations. He asked me to convey his words to you. I am no longer a child who has to rely on my older sister. Even without you, I can do everything well." Watching Helena leave, she cursed again, "I really want to tear that hateful face." Helena turned her head and left, but still did not forget to open her mouth and provoke, "Is that so? Then I will wait and see, but I really feel sorry for you. You have made enough calculations for my younger brother, but he calls and you come, drives and you go, and even sends you to a place like this racecourse to work. Why don't you think of a way to escape this horse stable before you have time to harm me?" She bit her teeth angrily, It's just a bunch of stupid paper people created, without a soul, and want to alienate and manipulate me? I am a living person with an omniscient perspective. Different from all of you, the paper characters without a soul. Sooner or later, I will become the ruler of this world." Because she was holding the reins too tightly at this time, Helena's hands had red marks. The maid carefully applied medicine to the wound for her. The maid looked at the hand of her princess with heartache and said, "Your Highness the Princess, a large area of your skin has been scratched. If it hurts too much, it's okay to scream." She gritted her teeth and endured the pain and replied, "It's okay, just continue." Davin entered through the door. He politely saluted, "Greetings, Your Highness the Princess." Seeing him appear here, she immediately asked, "Davin, why did you come back? How is the gold mine exploitation going?" His face drooped and answered, "Your Highness the Princess, the exploitation is not smooth. We encountered some trouble. A kind of monster never seen before was discovered in the mine. The Rose Legion suffered heavy losses. We didn't dare to act recklessly, so we immediately came back to ask for instructions from you." She asked curiously, "Monster?" Davin continued, "It can sing, using its singing to hypnotize and control people's minds. It was its singing that caused the Rose warriors to slaughter each other. Your Highness the Princess, should we continue to exploit? Please give instructions." She thought, "This gold mine is my trump card. I absolutely can't give it up easily. I want to go there myself to see what kind of monster it is." Davin worriedly tried to dissuade her, "It's really very dangerous inside, you still shouldn't go inside." Ignoring his dissuasion, she was still determined to enter to observe the situation. "This gold mine is related to the raising of my Rose army. I must get it. Knowing it's difficult but not retreating is not my style." She turned and ordered, "The warriors of the Rose army, come into the cave with me." They lined up in neat rows and answered in unison, yes. Davin still did not stop worrying about her safety. Your Highness the Princess, be careful, ahead is the lair of that monster. She thought, I've already come, even if this place is more dangerous, I can't return empty-handed. A sudden gust of wind startled everyone. Davin stepped forward to protect Helena. Your Highness the Princess, that demon is here, quickly hide behind me. She was still not out of the aftershock just now. Her hands tightened to cover her face, she gritted her teeth and looked uncomfortable. She thought, what is this monster? The shadow of a strange creature appeared. It had a shape like a human but had wings. It stood from above the cave and observed the actions and gestures of Helena's group. Helena shouted, everyone be vigilant, prepare to fight. The soldiers began to feel dizzy from the singing of the strange creature called the monster. Not good, the monster is starting to sing again. They began to gradually lose control, not distinguishing, knowing everything around them. Some soldiers turned to fight each other. Seeing this, Davin shouted uncomfortably, you're crazy. He said loudly, Your Highness the Princess, the singing of that monster can bewitch people's minds, you run away quickly, I will protect you. The scene before her was chaotic, but there was one thing she suddenly realized. What's going on? Why am I the only one not affected by the singing? The group of people still lost control and rushed to kill each other. She angrily shouted, Stop, I order you to stop. Before her, a person who had lost control was holding a sword and stabbing his comrade. She was startled and horrified. Davin had now been unable to withstand the attack, but he still tried to maintain the only last consciousness to protect Helena. His whole body trembled uncomfortably. Your Highness the Princess, it's no use, they can't hear your voice. Hearing Davin say that, she turned around in horror. While supporting Davin, she asked with concern, Davin, are you okay? Davin was in pain and uncomfortable, his whole body trembled in convulsions. Your Highness the Princess, you go quickly, if you're any later, I'm afraid I won't be able to protect you. She clenched the torch in her hand, and secretly decided, I won't leave you behind. She continued, I will definitely lead you out. The singing was still lingering in the cave, but Helena was completely unaffected by it. She thought, fear and running away are meaningless, only by bravely moving forward. There is hope to reverse the situation. I understood this principle after dying once. Moving closer to the singing, before her was a birdman spreading his wings, he was still continuing to sing his song. He appeared to be a young and handsome man, silver hair and white wings made him no different from a god. She was stunned to recognize, a person, a bird. He was the monster who used singing to kill people, yet he was a beautiful teenager. She shouted, Shut up, stop singing, who are you? The singing still came steadily from his lips. From above, he looked at her so small, at this time she was uncomfortably raising both hands to cover her face. Davin had been standing in front of her for a long time, ready to fight to protect his princess. He said, Your Highness the Princess, if I'm not mistaken, this is the legendary bird of paradise. She asked back in surprise, Bird of paradise, what is that? Before he could finish speaking, he flew over and rushed towards the two of them. Davin raised his sword high and prepared to attack him. Your Highness the Princess, be careful.